Let's get started.
Here we go. Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Keep your eyes open.
He's already done.
I'm just trying something new.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. This week, we are going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, as usual, Kamar is going to run down the new Patreons.
Fuck yeah, I am. Thank you to all the new listeners, old listeners, new watchers. Welcome to the club. This week, another good week on the Patreon. Very happy. Names I can pronounce.
That's always fun.
A big shout out to Alex Mackin.
He's like, it's Alex. He's like, the M is silent, you dickhead.
I asked with the question, Machin? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's Mackin, or I was going to say my Mackin as it. But anyways, Alex Mackin, welcome to the club.
Welcome, Alex.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Patreon, and Kyle. And I think this might be a repeat Kyle.
Return, yeah.
But that's cool if you want to.
Cool. Welcome back.
Come,
Or
leave, come back,
if
and have me
you're
butcher
new,
your name
yeah.
again, but I can't
He
fuck up a
came
Kyle.
in, we fucking went crazy on Kyle's.
Oh, that's right.
He
yeah.
bounced.
Yeah, he's like, fuck these guys.
We stopped bad-mouthing Kyle's and he's back.
Karen and Kyle's are back. Thank you so much for your support, all the Patreons. Thank you, all the listeners.
How was your week, Kamar?
Lockdown's still in effect. But as you guys know, I'm painting a multicolored house. Did you guys
we know that? No.
No, I didn't know that.
So it's an LGBT house, a green deck with red and purple railings, then red, then yellow, then purple, then red, green, yellow, purple.
That's so
Red,
weird. I
yeah.
thought the gays had taste.
I think this house has been there. Like if you go see it, it's been like that for 50 years.
Is it really a LGBTQ house, or are you
Definitely
saying that
is an
because
LGBT
of
house.
the color scheme?
It's on like lesbian hippies or whatever, but it's super cool. I was painting with yellow the other day, and it gave me joy. Like of all I painted with purple, I painted with red. Yellow was exuberating.
Just need some more yellow in your life, bro.
If you can paint with yellow, you can. But yeah, that's me doing my part for the community as well as an ex-con, making good with the.
Cool story, bro.
Thanks, man.
Wow, we got that in quick.
So if you're feeling down, get some yellow in your life. That's my week.
Kamar, where is this house? Is it near
McLeod and Bronson.
Oh, I wasn't going to say exactly, but you just doxed.
It isn't exactly. it isn't exactly there. But
Okay.
If someone wants to look, I mean, it's almost a famous house.
Dude, I have a crazy story. When I was working at Fratelli, one of the owners was like, my real estate buddy needs some help. He needs just like some grunt work done. Can you get a couple of friends and I'll put you in touch with them? So he takes us to this house on Frank Street. And it's this fucking monster of a house that used to be a gay bar called Frankie's on Frank. And dude,
Like on the down low.
yeah, like
Low
a bathhouse.
bathhouse. Yeah, nice.
And dude, he's like, yeah, he gives us like the rundown. He's like, demolish this, demolish that. I'm going to take off for a few hours. Dude, we started skulking around this place and whew,
Found
weird
some
shit goes on at some
interesting stuff in
bathhouses.
the
Yeah,
walls.
dude, it was wild.
Did you get paid for your work?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
That's always important when you do a job.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is important. Simon, how was your week?
Keep your eyes open. I'm just seeing where.
You know what? That's so much better than WhatsApp. So
Okay,
I'll
well,
fucking
there
take
you
it.
go.
I'll
There
take
you
it
go.
at 10 days out of 10.
My week was fine. Yeah. I found out that I'm going to be able to get my second shot of AstraZeneca, so that's pretty sweet, man.
Fucking humble
Pretty
brag over
sweet.
here.
No, it's
The
like
rest of us.
It's the least humble brag because, like I was telling you outside, if you got AstraZeneca, you might as well like be wearing the scarlet A on your chest.
Still, it's
No pun intended.
It's kryptonite to COVID. That's what you're really after.
Anyways, so yeah, that's it. No, shit is the same. Lockdown, everything's pretty standard. a lot of alien talk this week in the world. I don't know if either of you watched that 60 Minutes piece, but
Wow, they've blown the top off. Do you follow Sagar, that guy from The Hill?
I mean, I know who he
Isn't
is.
it Rising with the Hill?
Rising with the Hill,
I always
possibly.
fuck
I
the-
call,
I always-
just call
I know,
him
I
Ed
call it
Fisher.
The Hill too.
Crystal and Sagar.
Yeah.
That one.
Crystal
yeah.
Sagar. Sagar of Crystal. He is so into the UFOs. Like, he's on your side. He's an ally for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, listen, you want to know what drives me the craziest? This is what bugs me the most. I have no problem if, like, people want to bury their heads in the sand, any of that shit. Do whatever you want. But it's the people who are like, oh, yeah, of course there are aliens. You know, who last year that would have never said that? It's just the flip-flopping that bothers me the most.
And there's
I guess.
nothing, you don't get anything for it.
But Simon,
For being right all
what we
along.
learned from the first guest was that, flip-flopping is something you should probably do often.
Yeah, and okay, sure, yes, fine. But I guess it's
Wow,
you know what
great
it
segue.
you know what it is, Matt. It's
Go on.
the
It's that you were a believer forever.
No, it's the confidence in which they make that statement. It's not, oh yeah, after everything I've seen this year, I'm gonna throw my hat into that ring. It's, of course, I knew this all along. When they didn't really know it all along.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm someone that we used to argue about it a lot. I mean, I always was open to the idea that there was most likely something out there. I just never liked your weird kind of conspiracies attached with it. That
Has your
sort of
meter
thing.
moved in the last year?
Well, I mean, I'll admit this. Like, Simon's most likely right that if they are visiting, they're probably underwater at this point somewhere. But again, what I will say is I can agree with Simon that they might be spending their time underwater. What I don't agree with is that every government in the world knows about it and that they're stopping us from exploring underwater because they know there's aliens.
It's just
That's
a
where-
weird coincidence that that's where we now all agree that the UFOs are hanging out, and there's been no on the books explorations that have been done for 95% of the ocean. Okay, I mean, I'm okay with that.
That's
Matt.
allegedly, though, right, Simon?
Yeah,
That
again.
could be.
I did say on the books.
Exactly. I was just confirming.
I would assume that, like, rich people out there, the Bob Bigelows of the world, if they
Yeah.
really wanted to, unless it's literally being patrolled so much that, you really can't get in there with your little subs. And then I was just thinking, if it is a place where the aliens are hanging out, isn't it possible that they have some sort of like cloaking, where
Bigfoot type
it
device?
just looks like normal ocean to us, but it's actually Atlantis behind the.
So, okay, but if there is this Atlantis, then why would they even stop us from going down there? Wouldn't, like, if they have this cloak, are you worried they're worried one of the subs is going to bounce into this cloak?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe nobody's going down there because they legitimately think there's nothing down there of any substance because of the cloaking. I don't know, man.
I gotcha.
I'm just a guy.
Gotcha.
Anywho, so yeah, that kind of irritates me, but I'm over it.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, you've got all this time stamped. You're ahead of the line. You know
yeah,
what
I know,
mean?
but nobody looks at it like that. Like,
So, but I have a weird question for you.
here's my point: is 2 years ago, I'm yelling at somebody at the cottage about aliens, okay, and they're like, "Oh, Simon's crazy." Now, 2 years later, nobody is like, "Oh, Simon's right." They're just like, "I think what I think now," and 2 years ago, Simon was crazy.
Yes.
There's
yes.
no like
It's like go
accountability.
find me a
for-
unicorn. Now that
But
you found
Simon,
aliens.
we're also guilty of that because even you, the alien believer, when what's his name was on, you and I shot all over him.
Whoa.
Christopher Mellon.
No, the fucking Blink-182 dude.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge.
But no, but that's a
Yes.
good example, right? Like he was on Joe Rogan. You came over to my house,
Yeah.
and we had the discussion where we were like, "This is," and again, you being a big time believer, even you were like,
here's the problem with
Guilty
Tom.
as charged. I
Here's
also
the
thought he was
problem with
crazy.
Tom DeLonge.
"Okay,
Is all in the delivery. And I'll admit it, like, I think that Tom DeLonge was probably right about the majority of the things he said and still managed to make himself come off as crazy.
okay, fair
He's
enough."
too excited.
I'm just saying, is we all have these views of how we came off. Maybe at the cottage out of the blue, aliens just caught him off guard. I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean,
Benefit of the doubt.
in his defense, laying all this stuff out, you sort of just verbally throw it all up. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to explain, you're trying to keep your credibility, but you're so excited about there's aliens existing and the government knows about it. I don't know.
My question is this though: Is Simon
So far fetched.
one of these people who, let's say next year, Simon, everyone started believing in Bigfoot.
Well, yeah.
That bothers you, right?
Yes, that would.
Because that seems odd to me. Like,
Just as logic goes.
No, I think that's what we're after, right? Is everybody believing in Bigfoot because it's real.
But you'd be annoyed if next year everyone started talking about it like, I told you so. I mean, you'd be happy that it is being adopted, but you'd be annoyed.
I feel like, Simon, I'll
the
give you
same
an
as
example. Like
It's
when
like
I was,
a hipster mentality.
I'll give you an example, Simon. When I was young, I remember like listening to rap music and being like, man, I wish rap was like in movies and like more
Popular.
Yeah, you know, just like when you saw rap in something like a commercial or a movie, it was like a big deal. You were like, oh my God, like this is a song I know.
Validation.
Yeah. And nowadays I hear it in like a Starburst commercial. I'm like, fucking watered down bullshit. You know what I mean? Like
it's all there.
You kind of
It
get
is.
what you want eventually, and then it becomes.
I get it. Like, and then everything jumps the shark at some point. I guess, like with aliens and Bigfoot, because they've always been part of like the fabric of pop culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because they're talking about them being real now, they've always been part of the discussion. So, no, I think I would be happy. I think if everybody started believing in Bigfoot, it would be because there was proof of Bigfoot.
Gotcha.
It's a little more annoying with the aliens because I'm like, these fucking Navy videos, first of all, they've been around forever, but they're
Some
also...
of them haven't, come on.
Some of them haven't, but they're not like... They are certainly not that smoking gun that everybody's looking for, that clean video that's going to make the common person go, what the fucking fuck, you know?
But fair enough. Most people need some sort of proof and validation to, you know what I mean? Like,
But Simon, there's a report coming out next month, right?
There is a report coming out next month, presumably.
Well, this for all intents and purposes, I was saying, but you're saying nothing is going to come out in that report.
Nothing is going to come out in that report. They are going to confirm all these Navy sightings. They'll probably maybe admit that they have exotic materials. Kamar, like they have a piece
you don't
of
think
a
that's going to
UFO.
move the needle?
I don't. I think what needs to move the needle is going to be the president talking about it.
Precious materials or the side of a fucking ship is got to be something.
I don't even know if that's enough, though, Kay.
Well, what do they do when they find a fucking artifact?
wouldn't this be the perfect president to drop it, though? Old senile old Joe?
What do you mean?
Well, I just like if Obama were to come out in his heyday, you know, super good speaker and was like, we have aliens. You know, that would move the needle. But it feels like if Joe Biden says it 4 years from now, there could be a video, oh, crazy old Uncle Joe talking about aliens. Like,
And the same would have been true about Trump. Like, he could have said it, and then people could have been like, oh, he was just going for ratings or whatever, you know.
There's never a good time to hear.
My point is, it seems like a good cycle right now to let aliens out of the bag. Just because it could easily, I don't know, be downplayed later on.
I totally see what you're saying, though, about your earlier statement of, you know, you want everybody to believe what you've been saying was true. And when that happens, you're like,
well, it's almost like it's
these
not what
guys
you
are
wanted.
bandwagon jumpers.
Yeah.
And I think you have to take a step back and be like, well, no, that's what we wanted, right? We wanted busloads of bandwagoners or bandload of bus wagoners, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right.
How's your week, Matt?
Nothing to report. Nothing.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, incredible,
hear.
right? Yeah,
Awesome.
Really great stuff. I'm just fucking moving along real. So I will say this was a beautiful week. So spent a lot of time out in the sun. Started working out again. That's
And
nice.
I was talking to my buddy working, and he's like, oh, man, I just realized I get so busy in the summer. I was like, it's May. So that's a good thing. There's going to be lots of nice weather. There's some rain along the way, but.
I gotta say this. I bought a kettlebell last year at the beginning of just before the pandemic. I was one of the lucky people that got in there before they sold out. You know, used it a little bit. Didn't get like jacked or anything. Started using it again. But I also bought a fucking like exercise jump rope this week. Figured good for cardio since we can all hear me breathing. Jumping rope is one of those things where in your head, because you did it as a kid, you're like, I could probably jump rope for, I don't know, an hour?
No.
Oh, dude.
Try like
You don't think you could-
10 seconds.
Oh, dude.
I thought you were going to say 10 minutes and still say I was being generous.
Oh, dude, I got 5 minutes in and
Yes,
was like,
that's
my
impressive.
calves were fucking burnt. Like, it was fucked.
I can categorically tell you that jumping rope is the reason I quit MMA.
You were in MMA?
Yep.
I
Really?
did not know that.
For a very short period of time.
Interesting. Was this when you had a big afro?
No, this was like,
Oh, interesting. Recently. Wow.
I mean, within the last 5 years.
Wow. Secret of Simon.
Maybe a little bit longer than that. Anyways, yeah, there was so much jumping rope involved. I was just like, bully to this, man.
Are you foot to foot?
What do you mean?
Well, you could jump.
Well, I started with just
Do
both,
you know what I mean?
and then I started like rotating. But I honestly was so
Gassed?
not gassed. I mean, of course I was gassed, but I was so mentally down on myself.
Oh, you were defeated by what you thought you were going to do to what you were able to do.
Just so
it shows
defeated.
you how out of shape this portion of your body is.
Oh, it's
right?
insane.
That core.
I mean, it also shows you when you see trained athletes like intensely jumping rope for long periods. Again, it's one of those things where on the
Not
couch,
the first time.
on the couch, you're like, it's jumping rope. Fuck out of here.
But if we get over this defeat, you could get to a half hour. I don't know if it'll take 6 months, 6 weeks, or whatever. You know what I mean? That'd feel pretty good.
Well, because we used to cheat jumping rope as kids. Like you didn't do it that same way that, you know what I'm saying?
Even then, though,
You
even
would
if
do
you
like
che-
this
but
weird
Simon, even
Yeah,
if
you
you
can't
foot-
even cut corners.
Even if you cheated it, I'm telling you, as a kid, I could probably have jumped rope for 20 minutes, a half hour, no problem.
The only way you can do it is if you get rid of the rope.
Just, dude, that's it. Like, and the funny thing is, I've said it on the show 100 times. Like, try shadow boxing, just for 5 minutes.
No, for 5 seconds. like
Honestly.
if you're really going for it,
That's what I'm saying,
Like,
like-
obviously, I can't do this. Like who what do I think?
Yeah.
man.
Listen, so that's my week is feats of strength failures.
And that's sometimes why the smaller man can beat the bigger man.
Oh, that was a tough one. All right, well,
We'll get
let's run down the guest list and we'll get into what we do here.
Yeah, it's a crazy week. We had 2 guys who want to save the world or change the world. Not a B actor, but maybe a B rock star.
I was gonna say I was gonna say I'll give you that. You were at least like the closest.
And I think maybe Joe's favorite female comedian friend.
But yeah, probably.
I think so. Start off with 1653, Andy Norman, philosopher. 1654, Whitney Cummings. A lot of stuff could have been discussed. A lot of stuff wasn't. Then we had 1655, Sabastian Bleeding Heart Younger. No, he's a good guy. That was just a bad play on words. And I finish off with 1656, the podcast you didn't know you wanted to hear. Adam Duritz. Sha-la-la-la-la-la.
Mr. Jones and me tell each other fairy tales and we stare at beautiful women.
Round here.
She's looking at you. No. What a fucking garbage song. All right. Well, do we want to rate the week then?
Absolutely.
Simon, you look the most disgruntled.
No, I'd like to hear your guys' ratings. Maybe that'll sway mine.
I can't think about what Simon rated it. I'm going to rate it a 3.6.
Wow. I'm going to give this week a big fat 2. That's not generous enough. I'll give it a 2.5. Sure.
And I'm going to give it a 3.25.
3.25 from Simon. All right, he's going Portnoy on it. Did you go heavy Portnoy? What did you say?
3.6.
3.6. Okay, yeah.
There's stuff. I got surprised. I surprised myself.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, I guess we'll get into it. Name and a number, come on.
1953, University of Pennsylvania's own Andy Norman.
I mean, this to me was the shining light of the week, if anything, in my opinion. This was the best.
You didn't
podcast
like
this
that
week.
Sabastian Junger episode? I thought that would be right up your alley.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I'm already feeling my
I-
week rating is way
I
off.
feel these two complement each other. Like, just almost can't have one without the other. The thought processes. It was interesting that they were both super liberal.
Yeah.
But
I
they
don't know
both
about-
made
I don't know
they
about
both made
super
sense.
liberal.
Well, not super liberal like alt left or whatever, but they went out of their way to mention it.
Yeah, of
whereas
course.
other people won't mention it all or whatever. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. I just wanted to clarify. They're not Antifa meetings or fucking trying to cancel people.
No, they're not extreme liberals.
Yeah.
In that, I don't even know those people are liberals.
I consider both them centrists, if anything.
But this first guy has invented a theory, basically.
Yeah.
So
The mind parasite.
and it's like, part of me felt like this is it. I've been waiting my whole life. I got it. Like this is the one. Like sort of the scope that he was hoping that this idea and thing would reach.
You?
No, Andy Norman.
I felt
No, I'm saying the reach to reach you.
To reach, I think for him, 5 billion people would have to adopt this to make the change he's sort of thinking
on
about.
Rogan. Gotcha.
Oh, in the
Gotcha.
world.
Sorry. My bad.
I mean, the ironic thing was listening to this, I was like, we all need to hear this. Each one of us individually.
Every single human being,
Yeah, that as well. But
as well as the three of us.
I was thinking, I was like, this applies to every single person on this podcast because this is the podcast we do and that people listen to. But I was like, this literally, I could tick off boxes for each one of us.
Now, when I believe it was Dave Mackey or Bob Mackey from Whole Foods,
Oh, yeah, okay.
he was on and he mentioned your thoughts are not you.
Yeah.
And I think we sort of pushed back, like, but this guy reiterated that.
Mm-hmm.
And just slightly off topic, Sam Harris was just on.
Lex Friedman.
Lex
yeah.
Friedman. If he doesn't complain about Trump, he makes a lot more sense. Or I can hear him better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And just the,
But Sam's also changed a bit.
I think he's better for the better.
Yeah.
But it even bled into the Sabastian Junger one.
Okay.
Shouldn't the statement be some of your thoughts are not you?
Or
Does
most
some-
of your thoughts? Because I feel like some of your thoughts
have
are
gotta be
original.
you.
If no, there's it bleeds into the free will thing. Like it is you, but it is
It's the
caused by a bunch of other things
it's
that got
the
to that point.
culmination that got you there. That yeah.
You don't know the next thing you're going to think. You don't, but something does know.
Well, didn't they do tests where they figured out that like your brain acts like I can't remember what it is, but like
Well, that's the Younger one.
okay, but I think it was a different test even, but along those same lines, yeah.
And the brain doesn't see the punch. The brain sees
Yeah.
a reaction or
Sees them,
whatever.
yeah.
But you don't even, just like you can't stop breathing, like, or have to think, are you in charge of that? Or is something else your co-pilot in charge of bodily functions and pumping blood?
Yeah.
But his big thing was that we have mental immune systems
Yeah.
and that we have to, that they can be compromised by like ingrained beliefs, something like say religion or something. And so they can really be crippled, I think was his wordings, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
think of all those people who have trouble looking at thoughts because they have such a baseline of this has got to be the way it is.
I mean, you see it a lot though online where you'll see someone arguing a point to no avail, and someone brings up really strong points and they can't even acknowledge them.
No,
Like zero acknowledgement across the board. Just nope. Whatever you're saying is wrong.
Well, it's almost like this mind parasite has existed forever, but social media or the internet has given it like a shiny new, faster shell. You know what I'm saying? And it made it like
it would have accelerated, but I think you're right. It's always existed and always a potential to be addressed and maybe changed. Maybe.
I don't know. I think we're past that. My question is this to you guys. So when he first brought up the mind parasite, I was like, okay, I'm on board. He means a metaphorical mind parasite. But then as the show got on,
No.
yeah, it felt like he really meant like a literal, like an actual parasite. But I mean, what's the mind, I guess, right? So
Well, ideas are the parasites.
yeah, I don't think he meant like an actual.
I know, but the way he kept pushing it, I was like, I no longer think this is a metaphor he's using. Like it felt more
He's a philosopher, so he's speaking loose.
fair enough.
Do you guys think he came in like just sitting on Fred the Flat Earther?
Fred the Flat Earther.
Because I felt initially this guy was the whole catalyst for this was like a response to Q and stuff.
Okay.
Like
Maybe.
he saw this was a problem, ideas spreading this fast, people thinking these things. I've got to write this book. I got to look into this thing. And then he told the story about Fred the flat earther who went to heaven and said, "Hey God, the earth is flat." I was like, "No, it's round." I was like, "Oh my God, this goes higher than I thought."
That was a hilarious joke.
But it just felt like he was sitting on it to get that out.
I mean, I feel like as a professor, he probably has that one. You know,
He's told that in class before,
that's what I was going to
for
say.
sure.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how he opens up his year every year.
And it's a classic way to diffuse anyone who's going hard into conspiracies.
But that is a great joke.
Oh, it's incredible.
But he wants people to move forward.
This goes higher than I thought.
Questions, doubts, and suspicions about everything, but not conspiratorial.
Well, you see, and that's where you kind of lose me. You know what I mean? Conspiratorial is just a word.
Yeah, but he said that. He was like, conspiracies happen. You should be aware of them. But he said not everything. You know, I think that was his point, is don't just get down this road where everything is some conspiracy by some cabal and that, you know, coincidence happen.
And treat your own ideas that way as well.
Of course, yeah.
Which is this is the hardest part. I believe it's called humility.
Yeah, it's being critical of your, yeah.
Because he said humility and fair-mindedness.
Well, humility is the big one, I think, because if nothing else, our populace suffers from like a very grandiose version of themselves, which I don't think
we think our ideas are important.
Well, we just think we're way better than this is like a newer thing that I think has happened where just everybody thinks that they're amazing.
I don't think it's newer. I just think it's amplified because of social media.
Yeah, maybe because you're having to keep up with so many Joneses. Like before, you only had to keep up with the people in your if I didn't see that you had it better than me, then I didn't have to keep up with you. I'm more content with what I had. But now
you can be jealous of some 20-year-old in LA you've never met.
We are subject to so much flaunting that I mean that's the parasite.
You call it like new, but I figure we were just all on the beach, you know what I mean, going along our way. And then this is a wave coming in, and younger people are riding the wave and not saying it's new. Just it is the way it is that you compare yourself to all these people, and like this is just what being is. Mm-hmm. And we're more afraid of it than they are.
Well, that's every generation.
I think, but this is a big one. Like for some reason, this last 10 years.
I mean, listen, we came up with we
had internet.
Yeah, but we were the first generation to like not have it and have it actively in our like upbringing. So, you know,
there's people a bit younger than me that are way more better positioned. I was reading an article about it, like they're perfectly on the half. Mm-hmm. I know and don't know, but other people are like almost in the best position to navigate it.
Yeah,
because when they were born.
I would say if you were like 5 years younger than me, that's probably the sweet spot.
It's interesting though how every generation, like, you know, we look back at our parents and they said, "Oh, we had it better than you did. This was better about when we grew up."
Yeah.
And then we say the same thing. But every generation kind of it gets a whole bunch of good things as it moves forward.
Yeah, and they fuck some shit up.
And it leaves behind a bunch of good things in its wake, you know? And it's, I guess, about how the balance you can keep. And to Kamar's point, it feels like this last 10 years, we've lost track of the balance a little bit and we've left behind too much to take too much, I guess.
I feel like we have, though. Other people are just like right where their balance should be. Younger people or whatever, you know what I mean?
They don't know the difference.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like we looked at our parents like they were stupid.
And but keep in mind too, like young people have an advantage in that like they're not so abusive of like alcohol and hard drugs. They're more into like psychedelics and weed and like the alcohol scene, like drinking is not what it fucking used to be. Like if you go out, it's not like when we were young. And when we were young, it wasn't like when our parents were young. I don't know.
There's a shift.
But there's always a shift. That's my point, is it's a constantly changing landscape, and the older people are always going to be like, these young fucking kids, and the kids are always going to look up at us like, what are you talking about, Gramps?
Yeah, but not every shift is the same, I guess, is the point, right? Like, just because that's how we looked at our parents like they were stupid, even though they were leaving back some essential things that probably would have been good for us now.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that what we're doing now is anyways, whatever.
No, but I'm just saying, like, rock and roll was something that was going to kill kids and rot everyone's brain, and it was some, it was a terrible thing for society, and it was just fucking music at the end of the day. It didn't do any of that shit.
Yeah, but that's just a narrative that was pushed by people who wanted you to feel a certain way.
Yeah, but a lot of adults felt that way.
It's funny you say that because I was watching this CNN in the 80s, and that was part of it.
Part of what? What do you mean?
All like Ozzy Osbourne, Rat, all these bands
Alice Cooper
were
shit,
like
yeah.
so demonized by federal, like there's hearings and like it was a big deal. It wasn't just rumblings on Twitter, so to speak.
80s Twitter.
Now you look back at where these people are now, and it seems so overwhelming. And I can't imagine what older people think. And that's the reason I'm most skeptical of, say, Fauci or Biden. How are they keeping up?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
With the wave and the technology, and how is their finger possibly on the pulse?
Well, they must have some people in their crew who are...
But I don't understand it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that why...
Those guys are smarter than me, but...
Isn't that why Trump kept, like, Ivanka... What's her fucking name?
I think he's so
And,
crazy. He actually just made decisions. Like he didn't ask for advice, and that sort of was his bag. But one of the things he said was use reason as a guide, not as a weapon. Your reason is to get your point. The reason is steadfast, and that's where we're at. I assume that's in accordance to like successful communication. Like your reason can't be that's the end all be all. The reason is to get to this belief or whatever.
Or whatever.
And he said willful belief is dangerous.
Willful belief is dangerous.
I think that's sort of along the religious thing. Well, I just, because of this, I know this, like the woman knew hell wasn't a thing, but it was still impacting her when she's making decisions.
I mean, again, you see that in a lot of stuff. It's weird also that we're, I think they brought this up, that we're lied to from a young age about like all sorts of whimsical shit. Santa, the tooth
Santa
fairy,
Claus
like,
has got to be a problem.
Yeah, we got to get rid of that shit. It's insane.
It really is the first conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and you're lied to right away by your parents. Like, so wait a minute.
And there's a, this happens thing. Like, this always tell the truth. We need to be honest. We lied to you this one time, but that's the only time. It really sets a dangerous precedent.
It's super contradictory too. Like, do not go with strangers, especially if they offer you stuff. However, once a year, a dude's going to come into the house and leave you some gifts.
Santa in my house, because my family celebrates Christmas. Santa always gave the kids the shittiest gift.
Interesting.
Because I wasn't letting him take credit for anything good.
Fair enough.
So that he would give them something. It would be okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like
the PlayStation.
It wasn't the banger. When I was a kid and I would go to my friends' houses for Christmas, because I didn't have Christmas.
Yeah.
Their big gift was always from Santa, and that was the banger. And that made sense to me as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, no fucking way I'm letting this imaginary person take credit for my hard-earned work.
Top billing. I mean, the weird thing, though, is like, we're sitting here talking about it like, oh, it's got to be a problem. But like, I don't remember that reveal hurting me.
Well, no, but it's the way you look at everything moving forward.
I mean, I understand, and I brought it up too. I don't know. I get it. It's your subconscious, and
it's like it's all right to lie about some stuff. Sometimes just.
I mean, it is though
to make you happier, or
to make someone else.
We're
happier.
saying maybe it isn't in the long run.
In retrospect, though, I always knew that Santa wasn't real.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like a Jewish thing. No, seriously. Like when we talked about it as kids, my parents were never like, oh, there's this guy that they believe in who's real.
Yeah.
It was like they believe in an imaginary thing. You know what
I
mean?
Yeah.
So when I went to my friends' houses for Christmas, I knew.
Oh, the jig was up for you.
But they didn't know. And I wasn't allowed to tell them.
And that's carried on in life. You always know you're a step
ahead.
I've
always known too much.
I thought it was
that's it.
It was sort of cute how it happened, but it might be totally a good thing.
Do you remember when you found out about Santa?
I remember finding presents, just scouring the house.
No. Oh, and realizing that they had been there all
when
along.
on the day when it came from Santa. I was like, no, it didn't. It came from the closet upstairs.
And you, Matt, like
I do not remember.
what, 12 years old?
7 or 8.
16. No, I was young. I must have been super young. I wasn't a dumb kid.
You know what
I caught on to shit quick.
You know what I did like though? I liked their truth fairy.
The truth fairy. That's what I was about to say.
That is not a bad fucking idea.
Every
Listen,
time your kid tells the truth, you give him a quarter. Or
we
whatever.
live in a generation of reward and what's the fucking word? Like what's in it for me? The
Selfishness.
no.
Reward.
No. Well, kind of selfishness. No. Why you do something? You do it because.
You get a reward.
Okay. Anyways, it'll come to me. That is just a great way to really instill that idea
At a
of
young age.
telling the truth to kids right from the start. Yeah.
I think that was a big breakthrough of this
I think it
podcast.
was brilliant. I really, when they said that, I started thinking of like, how could you sell this? You know what I mean? And to me, that's like a no-brainer.
It cost quarters.
It just sucks though, because you should just tell the truth.
No. I'm with you, Maddie. That's why I'm pointing at you through my
Okay,
bubble.
sorry.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Your initial reaction is like, no, that's gross.
It's not so much that it's gross. I understand the premise. I'm just wondering if down the road, if it has the same almost consequence as what we're currently in. You know what I mean? Where if there isn't some reward, everyone's just like, well, why would I buy? I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Santa Claus is naughty and nice.
I just don't think it translates that far down the line. Like exactly at some point, Santa's not real, but you're still like have it instilled in you to be a good person.
But keep in mind too, like the naughty and nice thing, you also knew. You were like, I was hella naughty this year and I still got gifts, motherfucker. You know what I mean? So like it
Then
didn't.
your parents fucked up.
I could have got way more stuff if this is what I got for being naughty.
Sure, that's how they should have played
Just that's
it.
the whole idea of what the Santa Claus is, to keep you in line.
Like you got a bike, and had you not
There
fucked
was
up,
a laptop
you'd
if
be
you hadn't
cruising
been-
around
yeah,
on a
yeah,
motorcycle,
exactly,
or
yeah.
you would have gotten a gun,
Yeah.
or whatever you really want.
But the reward of being an honest person in the long run, I think, is a lot greater than just getting presents for behaving. If you're just instilled to be honest, maybe the way you go about it, being dishonest to get honest, that was
right now you get a present for the day for being born. That seems ridiculous. Why don't you just like spread that wealth out during the year and give it to you for being honest or polite or whatever?
But you just get out there it's like, today I took a shit.
You know what's great,
Honest,
Kumar?
I did.
His birthday's coming up and he just gave us the pass. Doesn't even want gifts this year.
But you know what that
Just wants honesty.
You know what that translates to as I'm thinking this out is like one of those Black Mirror episodes where you see the like points going up above
the social
you,
score, yeah.
and then as soon as it's keeping score for you, that karma meter fucks everything up, right?
Of course. Well, because people know they can sabotage that karma meter as well.
Well, not only that, but when you are using that karma meter as like your barometer, then to your point, it stops being like true,
Yeah.
and starts being something that you're working towards. But again, if it's goodness that you're working towards, I just failed to see the problem there.
Yeah.
I think he's overused the Ari puppy dog story. We can put that let dead dogs
Well,
lie.
it's just
Well,
such
there's a bunch of stories that.
I'll tell you why that. Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, you please.
No, please.
No, I insist. Tell me why.
Okay. That story in particular, because it's so anecdotal, and we've never actually heard Ari say that he did it. So it's just
No, I
this
think we
story.
did. I think he said it on the show.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, someone would have to.
Anyways, it
Fact check
seems
this
really stupid though.
Yeah,
because
I think
it's
the
one
algorithms
guy
would update
fucking
it by now.
Yeah, googling puppies.
But hold on. I will say this. Like, I have a YouTube as Kamar does. I'm sure you don't use yours, but like I use YouTube a lot, and mine is literally all the same stuff. It's none of it is like. And my dad, on the other hand, like. His YouTube is fucking absolutely buck wild. Like everything's a conspiracy,
Well,
flat Earth.
Kamar's is probably buck wild too. It's
But is-
probably just all Rush Limbaughs and
Oh,
No, I bet he's-
right now it's
riches.
e-bikes and fucking Steve will do it. But
Steve will
is there anything on your YouTube that is like upsets you?
No.
Well, that's
And
what he's
the
saying.
thing. That's my point is like, I guess because I just choose like, so I use it for stocks, video game videos, I guess some music. You know what I mean? Like none of it is negative at all. It's all just like
Nothing pushes your buttons.
people. It's kind of like what you're saying. Like if you just watch Steve Will Do It videos for the next 2 months, it's going to suggest a bunch of like Nelk Boy-esque
Oh, it's all slots. It's
or
all just
gambling. Yeah.
Twitch slot shit.
It's not even slots. He plays the mind game.
Yeah. So again, to your point, if you're out there looking to be outraged in the first place, that's the stuff they're going to give you. Like this isn't rocket science. If you don't want that stuff polluting your airways, then look up puppy dogs.
Well, that's it. It's the same thing. Like all these people that are mad at social media, I'm like, get off of social media and it stops becoming a problem right away. Like I promise you. It's like that what did they say the other day? 80% of people aren't on Twitter. I bet that 80% of people are so much happier. Or at least fractionally happier.
I'd say happier.
I don't even understand why people are angry on Twitter. I don't honestly, Matt, because I've never made a tweet or really read a tweet or anything like that. Like
For the reaction.
I don't know what that
It's
world
literally
is
for likes.
even like.
Or shares or retweets or whatever. Like if you do something, if you're in that space and it gets a reaction, you're going to do it again. I mean, you know what I mean?
But you know what I did see this
If you're on Twitter.
Well, I have a really good point. Just sorry, because I will forget, Simon. Back to your truth fairy thing.
Not my thing.
His thing. Sorry. This is kind of a weird example, but I'll use it anyway because it might work. There's one specific Reddit. It's the R cryptocurrencies subreddit. If you subscribe to that Reddit and you like something or you get likes, let's say you post something and it gets 1,000 likes. I don't know what the ratio is, but you get cryptocurrency. It's called moons. So in theory, that's great. It's free money basically for posting good stuff that people enjoy. You'd think like wonderful. The problem is this subreddit now is just littered with people reposting and just posting like non-fucking stop trying to get 1,000 likes so that they can get this free cryptocurrency. My concern back to the whole truth fairy thing is that, people just go out of their way.
Yeah, just be too honest. I took a shit today.
But not even,
I'm sad. Now I'm happy.
Yeah, no. I'm totally with you, Matt. It doesn't work as like a social currency, but to instill good values in your kids
I'm all for it. I agree.
In those
Yeah.
years from
Yeah.
1 till 5, while they still believe that there could be a fairy.
Yeah.
Like, no, this, again.
I mean, listen, if we're going to go with some sort of fictional fairy character, I'm with the truth fairy more than I'm with Santa or something.
Or the Easter Bunny, all these religious holidays. Like, let's make these things into character builders, those 4 tenets, and make those the fairies. And,
But isn't that so interesting too, that like all of these religious holidays are just kind of masked as like a way to get gifts? You know what I mean? Like if Christmas was literally just you celebrating Jesus's life and
Nobody
death,
would give a fuck.
You're supposed to be learning lessons along the way.
It would be a nightmare. If there wasn't 2 weeks off and gifts and like family, you'd be like, fuck this.
Yeah, no, they're not even joking around when they're talking about Hallmark holidays. Like these things have literally came out of a way to make money out of religious ceremonies. Like it's crazy, man. And they are just so part of the fabric of society now.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine a world without Christmas?
No, be fucked.
I
Be absolutely
imagine
insane.
every year I pray for it.
But what the fuck
That'd be
is
nice.
Christmas? It's just a time where we've decided that, like Matt said, we're going to get and give presents.
My Christmas is the Super Bowl.
It's totally arbitrary, Maddie. You could make it anything. Like, people don't really care.
Yeah.
Any day, like, make it up.
Yeah. I
Call
agree.
it Good Human Day.
But what if you're a business that relies on Christmas? That changes everything, right? It is very important each year.
Well, it is right now in the way we function, but I'm saying if instead of Christmas being one important day, you had 10 important days
that's what
throughout the year,
I've said that from the get-go.
and they're all like if everybody still wants to give gifts, great. That sounds terrific to me, but let's just do it under a different name and make it something that like the kids are going to know is good for the world.
Keep that magical spirit of Christmas going throughout the year.
Maybe let's also move it to summer because
Well, like I said,
Summer's just a better-
there should be a bunch of, maybe there should be one for each season.
sure.
One special
A nice
day
celebration.
for each season.
Maybe the idea was to have it's cold outside. Well, some places are hot, but cozy. Everyone's inside. Keep the family together to keep the indoctrination going.
Well, and
Keep
that's
the indoctrination going.
that's probably how it was in the olden days, right? Like things were celebrated because there was a feast coming or you were doing your crop, right? Like that type of stuff. It all related to the seasons.
And how old is Christmas?
It's old. I mean, Santa, I know Coca-Cola came up with like the Santa character that we know now.
Well, except that whole mushroom thing.
Yeah,
like
but
that kind of throws that out of whack because then you're talking about the hat coming from even earlier than that, right?
well, sure. But I mean, again, they could have just used some of that folklore in creating this. Or maybe the guy that the designer was just some fucking Dutch. You know what I mean? I don't know. Kamar's very squinted about this.
Well, no, I like
Forgot
did
about
the
something.
Egyptians celebrate Christmas? Or they would have been before Christmas.
No, they didn't. They
Yeah, they
didn't
would have
have
been way
Jesus.
before Christmas. Yeah.
So
Can't have Christmas pre.
there was no Christmas. That's the
No, but
beginning.
they had
But the
something
commercialization probably happened in the 1900s.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah, for sure. Once we industrialized everything.
Contrary to what Joe says, Cheese Whiz is not good.
No, queso is good, but cheese whiz is fucking disgusting.
Do you agree, Simon?
I hate it.
Yeah, Joe was like, "Oh, Cheese Whiz is good." It's like, no, it is not, Joe.
Also, before they put the coloring in, it's gray.
I did not need. I don't eat it, but I did not know.
So the first recorded Christmas celebration was in Rome on December 25th, AD 336. In the 3rd century, the date of the nativity was the subject of great interest.
And they exchange gifts.
Everybody will get a dick sock.
And did they have Boxing Day sales?
Look further into it.
No,
No,
boxing,
no.
Boxing Day is UK and Canada only.
That goes way back. Is that right?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
you didn't know that.
No, Boxing Day is not in the States.
At,
It's Black
at one point,
Friday.
Norman was blowing up Joe's spot for being such a good listener, and I felt like he just went on a rant, where Andy kept trying to get in there because he had points he wanted to make, but it wasn't happening, which I think is very indicative.
Yeah,
of
there
Joe.
were so many times when Andy Norman had to say, "Joe, that is so astute of you."
just to enter
Yeah.
back into the conversation.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, can I stroke your balls for a second so that I can jump back in here?
Just another point I wanted to make. He butchered the lottery winner paraplegic. He said studies have shown that a lottery winner a year later is as happy as a paraplegic, which is not the case. It's if someone were to break their neck and someone won the lottery, they're both the same happiness a year later. That's the theory. But if you win the lottery, you're much happier than a quadriplegic because a quadriplegic is a quadriplegic.
I mean,
No,
I
I think what he was saying was that after a year, most people who have won the lottery are no more happy than a quadriplegic person. Isn't
After
that
becoming a quadriplegic. Like the level of I'm so bummed, I'm so happy zeroes out again.
it's just so tough to believe. It's just so tough for me to believe that you could win the lottery and
No, it's the when you win the lottery, you're so happy. Oh my
get
God,
it.
I'm going to buy a
A
house.
year later, I
A year
understand.
later, that does not carry. As well as if you break your neck, you're like, my life's over. I can't walk anymore. A year later, you're like, this is my life now.
Is that what he was saying?
That's not what he said, but that's what the theory is.
that's what Kamar's saying is that he got it wrong.
Or he just
Kamar's-
misspoke. He misspoke.
Okay, Kamar's just clarifying. I mean, I understand that. It just still seems like it still seems like a disingenuous.
I still hear what you're saying, Matty. How do you win the lottery and not be happy?
Well, if you blow it all,
Again, that's different than
You're
winning
even
the
less happier
lottery
than when you
and
had the
not
money.
I mean, listen, there's
do you know what I mean, though?
There's a good chance if I won like $20 million when I was in my 20s that I might only have like $1 million left right now. There's a chance.
but
Which you might be disappointed with, but that's really good.
Yeah.
he spent 10 years being happy. Like,
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at is like, well, you never know. Maybe, who knows?
I think it's just a weird.
But this, they were saying
It's what people who haven't won the lottery say.
60% of the athletes blow their money
Well, that's true because I've
and
seen
higher in other sports.
I've seen broke.
Well, what did Patrick Ewing say? I spend a lot of money because I make a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's
I think it was the other way around. I make a lot of money because I spend a lot of money, I think is what he said, which sort of didn't make sense, but it's like not frugally responsible. But if you have a bunch and then lose it, like that, we were talking about a couple weeks ago, a guy had $10 billion
Yeah.
and lost it all in 4 days. Like that's going to bite for a while.
well, yeah, that's a little different though than like winning the lottery $10 million and you buy a boat and you buy a car and you fucking pay off all your debt and after 10 years you have nothing left. Well, yeah, but look at what you accumulated in those 10 years.
No, you just said it best. If after 10 years you have nothing left, you're back in debt, like you'd be better off if you never even won the lottery. If you're
Again, you're making a lot of assumptions about how that's
a majority of them have to live the rest of life like a fairy tale.
But also, Kamar, you're forgetting too, like that guy that lost $10 billion, you know, you forget that he probably started with 2, made 8, and then lost it all. Because that's, you know, it's not like he just had $8 billion or $10 billion in the bank and just one day was like.
And it would lead me to believe at the end of the day, he was better off before any of that money. To have it and not have it. I don't know because you don't have, but.
Well, it's like the old, like, you're better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're better to have loved.
Yeah, that's what I said. You're better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
You're better to have won all the money, live a bit, and lose it all than not to.
Yeah.
And I'm disagreeing with that.
I'm with Simon where, like, I think it's just propaganda. Like, that whole rich, like, hey, more money, more problems. Like, dude, give me more problems then. It's fine.
These are ideas we're using reason to dissect.
It's a don't feed the bears thing written by the bears. Like, these are classic things that people who don't win the lottery say. And I am one of those people. It's hater talk.
To know what percentage of those athletes are aware of that.
I mean, here's the athlete thing, though, that's like rarely spoken about is, so when you see someone who's like, you know, signed for $10 million or whatever, they have an agent, a manager, probably a publicist. You know what I mean? There's so many fucking, there's a lot of teats on you that people are suckling at. So when you see someone signed for 10 million, like after the tax too, you know, they're getting fucking 2.5, 3 maybe.
Or $3,000.
Well, if you're fucking, who was the guy that played for the Browns? He was a quarterback in like the early 90s or 80s.
Bernie Kosar?
That's the dude, yeah.
He made a lot of money.
He's
didn't
broke.
pan out. Well, Lenny Dykstra, tons of them, I don't know. I just wonder if you have to be like a hockey goalie though, you know what I mean? Like let that go. If I had $10 million for 10 years and thought I'd always be this way, then lost it all.
Yeah. I mean, the question...
Take a really strong man to just brush that off and like, whatever, shit happens.
I mean, we
that's what you gotta do.
We spoke about it a few weeks ago, but like imagine Kurt Schilling. Now, this is the question is, if you made all this money playing baseball and then lost it in a business venture, if you really, really cared about that business venture and thought it was going to take off, like, are you that angry at the end?
You tried your hardest.
I mean, you'd think you would have maybe squirreled away 20 million somewhere, but I guess that's not how it works.
Otherwise, you're sitting at home on your hands, never making a play, never getting anywhere. Like, that's better than making the play and having a chance at, like, I don't know.
I think that's more of the verb of living. You live a more fulfilling life if you try and fail. But I don't know the emotional guilt or where you are in your life. Like someone makes their fortune at 50 and dies, or someone makes their fortune at 20. Because they sort of talk about it in the last one. Relevance, you know what I mean? Chasing fame for fame's sake.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I do get rich, I'll be happy knowing that I didn't get rich when I was young.
I had that conversation myself today, but that is a special thing to be young and rich.
It is 100%. Listen, I agree with you 100%.
But you know how we look at like that young person's, they're squandering all this, they should be more responsible, and maybe they wake up and have nothing, but that's such a unique time in your life. If you have it, I'm glad some people just go, like.
I mean, also, the reason I say this is because I can look back at my 20s having just done all that with less money. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't Steve Will Do It, but I was Steve Will Do It drunk my entire, like.
I said this to my brother the other day. In your 19s, 20s, you live way outside your means. You act like there's a bunch of money coming in, or you are more successful than you are. Like you just, it's going to keep coming. I'm going to keep getting smarter and fitter, and I'm not going to age and not going to, like, it's just not in your head.
Because I was in an accident when I was young, I got a bunch of money when I turned 20 or 21, but my mom told me about it a year early. So long story short, she had to come to me 2 days later and was like, yeah, that money I told you you're getting, you're not getting it till next year. And I was like 20. So she was like, listen, I'll go take out a line of credit with you. Long story short, because I had paid this line of credit, once I turned like 22, the bank hit me up and they were like, do you want a credit card? And I was like, yeah, I'll take a credit card. And they were like, okay, well, we'll approve you for $5,000. And being 20, I was like sick. And I blew through that in like maybe 3 or 4 months. Like that might even be a stretch. I think it was quicker than that. And with no concept of like, you have to pay this off, or like, and that it has accrued interest.
The downstream consequences.
Oh, for sure. Like my mom had to bail me out. Like she was like, I'm cutting this credit card up. I'm paying it off in full, and you're going to pay me back, you fucking moron.
Do you think, in retrospect, there was a better way for that to be handled?
What do you mean?
You be told the day you get the money, or like...
Yeah, that probably would have been the best part.
I
mean, that didn't
it went
matter.
down how it went
Hold
down.
on, keep in mind, that didn't matter. That wasn't the problem.
was always gonna
Like,
be blown.
To be honest, no, because I blew through that. That's separate money. I mean, the credit card was out. I had already blown that money when I got the credit card, to be completely honest. So it also paid for me to go to New York. Who cares? My point is just...
You're better off having that than not having that.
My point was, yeah, I definitely lived beyond my means in my 20s, but because I had that time and partied anyway, I know now that, like, if I get rich now, the odds of me fucking it up are very slim.
Be a lot more fiscally conservative.
Of course, yeah.
I thought it was a reach when he said he taught Antonio Brown how to catch.
Oh, I thought he was bang on. I was like, this guy must have
Do you
taught.
think you
No,
think-
of course not. Are you fucking kidding me? I was like, this guy's
Credits.
a fucking yahoo. I knew he was joking too. I'll give him credit. It was funny.
And I don't know if he knows about all the sexual assault stuff and stuff with Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he probably. Yeah, he brought him around a bunch of kids.
This week was sometimes a weird week of examples of people brought up.
Yeah,
That's what I found. And that's my notes for this. This is a really interesting
I think everyone needs to go listen to this one.
concept he put out there. I think it's ambitious. I think the truth fairy is the gem of this whole thing as a new concept that people could think about, like, act locally. Parents could actually do, which
Well,
I think would have
I think
good
too
results.
the big overlying theme of this one was check yourself and all your ideas often.
Constantly.
Yeah. And I think everyone should go listen to this episode. Simon, you okay over there?
Yep.
Okay, just checking. It's I really, you're like behind an invisible cloak, and
I'm naked.
it's like you're like a person on Cops that didn't sign the waiver.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're blurred out.
I'll be in the show, but you can't have my likeness.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's rate it then. We'll start with Bubble Boy.
I will give this episode a 3.5.
Kamar.
Yeah, I didn't like him, but I'll give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4, and I'm gonna have to definitely change my rating at the end of this whole fucking thing. That's fine though. That's how we do. See, that's what this whole episode was about: was change and reevaluating. So I know
The
I'm
proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
You just got to be humble.
That's it. All right. Well, let's move on to the next one, Kamar.
This is just one last thing. This is one of those examples of a person who comes on Rogan whose message needs the platform.
Yeah.
Oh, this should be picked up by
and
every single news
still
source.
Won't make a goddamn dent.
The problem, though, Simon, also is, before this show, you and I probably wouldn't have listened to this guy.
Well, no, I'd have no reason to. So great. That's amazing. That's why Joe Rogan.
No, but my point is, like, this one will get low downloads compared to, like, an Elon. Obviously, that's
yeah.
the worst example. But you know what I mean? Like, because he's not, that name doesn't jump out at you. You have to be
Everything's
one of
going
those.
to change once this drops on Tuesday, boys.
Yeah, there
We're
we go.
going to get the word out.
Good.
Oh, this is what I forgot to say at the beginning. We have to start guessing because almost every week there's a headline from something Joe says. And I was asking that the last couple weeks. I'm oblivious to it. Like, did you hear when he said it? Like, oh, that's like this week. Did you hear? I did not know it was in the Joe list. I thought it was something that might have been said in the Anthony Cumia episode. That would have been the incendiary story, but
comment,
it was from
yeah.
the Joe list thing. Like, you never notice it, right, Simon?
I don't pay attention to any of that shit, nor do I want to.
But let's try to listen for something in the course of the week that Joe says, like,
This will be the thing.
there's going to be hell to pay for that one.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But like you
we
said-
never hear it.
No, I never do. But that's because they always take it out of context. They always just show that one snap clip where you're like, whereas if you're listening to it as a whole, it doesn't tend to jump out that much. And if you're used to it, you're like, oh, this is just Joe.
Sometimes I do hear Joe, though, and I'll be like, ooh, that's going to be spicy tomorrow.
But it isn't. But
No, it never is.
That's the funniest thing is all the times where I'm like, oh my God, he's going to get fucking lit up for this.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
if
he
ever
said
one of us
the
calls it, I'm
N-word.
going to if ever one of us calls it, I'm going to have senseless pride. Really, be happy with us.
Okay.
1654,
Whitney Cummings?
Whitney Cummings.
Cumbarn, yes. Sorry, I thought you were waiting for Simon to jump in there.
Why Whitney Cumbarn?
It was a joke she said on it. They tried to talk about naming her kids. Cummings. Her parents were coming, and they add the S. Something like
No,
that.
it was her. One of her. No, it was that her mom's name was Cummin, and her dad's name was Cummings.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Why didn't you hyphenate it?"
Sorry, I didn't get it exactly correct. But
Cummin
that's-
Cummings.
And she said her fiance, rock climber, veterinarian, is a Barn is his last name.
Well, it should be hyphenated like Cummins hyphen ing.
Barnes.
Gotcha. Like
Cummins
yeah.
ing.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
just to save space.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to save time, right?
Was she or was she not on Adderall?
I mean, she always seems like that, though.
I haven't put my finger on it before.
No, she seemed
Okay.
especially like with the whole mic thing.
Oh, the neck mic.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with Kamar.
Because she said they were talking about fanny bags. She said, I have my drugs in my fanny bag.
Yeah.
And that was the first time ever occurred to anything. It could be anything.
No, she takes all sorts. She takes ketamine nasal spray. Like she's on a litany of.
She's on
fucking
anything
things.
she can do to keep. I believe the last time I was on, I said she was sort of lost, looking to be found because of the radical hair changing and stuff.
Yes, it was pink at the time.
Well, you got that again this time, Kamar.
Well, she's gone to Old Witch now, and she's also taken Tim Dillon under her wing, which is sort of a fag hag thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I put her in between like Annie Letterman and Nikki Glazer.
In what regard?
Fuck, kill, Mary.
Fuck, kill, Mary. Ooh, that's hard.
It's a good one, huh?
That is a really hard one.
Yeah. Simon, you too.
I'm gonna fuck
Fuck.
Whitney
Okay.
because she's always working herself and be just too much. I'm going to. Oh man, I'm going to marry Nikki Glazer because I think she's a freak and I'm gonna kill Annie Letterman.
Yeah,
but
no.
Annie Letterman's my
I
favorite of the three of
fuck
them.
Nikki Glazer. I marry Whitney, and I murder Annie Letterman.
I'm on Simon's
She
train.
drives me nuts.
I think
Annie
she's the
Letterman.
funniest of the three.
She's
of them.
the funniest,
Oh, she's the
but I
funniest
don't
of
need
the
to
three of them, for
marry
sure.
the funniest girl. I need to marry like
Yeah,
Whitney.
that's why I kill her.
Whitney
She's
Cummings
just be
seems
roasted
like
all the
she'd
time.
take care.
like your
take-
buddy.
Seems like she'd take
and
good care of you.
Good care of you. Yeah. Annie Letterman seems like she'd be a
problem.
great hang.
She'd be a
but like
problem.
isn't cleaning the house. You know.
Ever.
Just don't be mean to any animals
I love animals now that I have a dog. So.
around Whitney.
I mean, I'm with that. I like the animals. Come on, you could never be with Whitney. 'cause
I love
you're an
animals.
Animal hater.
No, I was great with the dog. But could you imagine on a date
You
with
with
her?
a dog was like I imagine you with a baby,
And he just
like holding it,
Holding
out
it by the
here,
neck out like this.
one leg.
it's doing something. It's doing something.
Like when the little kids come up to Kamar and ask questions, he gives them like old people answers. You know,
do you
Like a
feel
Gutenberg
there's
over here.
there's something about her like TMP-ish?
too much philanthropy.
Of course, Simon. What you had to?
Well, it's your term.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had
Doctor.
to check. You had to check yourself there.
I just making sure we are talking about the same thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
But you know how
It's not
hardcore
philanthropy like that.
She knows where all Michael Jackson's chimps are. Like she is in it.
She is
Just because she
in
loves
it.
animals, and that's great. Or is it to make up for stealing the ancient Indian art when she was 7?
Yeah, I don't think she has like a
There's no overcompensation for anything.
yeah. Besides just the calling herself out on her own good deeds, I don't like. And I guess you deserve that if you're doing good deeds. You know.
I think she's probably just a good person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like she said, she doesn't do it publicly, except this was sort of publicly, but
Well, I mean, Joe brings it up though.
Joe
I feel
brings
like I
it
don't think it's her coming
She's
on
not
the show
like,
to
hey
toot her
Joe,
own
I
horn.
got
Yeah.
ponies.
she's not signing petitions on Twitter and stuff like that. No.
No, I think she's low key. Just to, I believe she's in the footsteps of Joe. Also helps out a lot of comedians.
Do you
probably,
find
too.
her too like thirsty almost on Rogan though? You know, like it almost doesn't feel genuine.
No, I think I mean, again, if she's on Adderall, we could see maybe why I could.
She's like this on. I saw her on the BFF show.
Yeah.
Exact same person.
What's the BFF show?
It's Portnoy and Josh Richards,
Okay.
TikToker.
Gotcha.
But she was even more what Simon's seeing, like want to say all the cool words, want to see like seem relevant and stuff like that. But I don't think it's thirsty. I just think she has a bit of an imposter syndrome because she started like 2005, and by 2011 she had a show on NBC. And that's a pretty big glow up. compared to
it's easier when you're hot.
she was acting first or whatever, and so she wants to be respected as a comedian, not as a hot girl who got successful
Yeah.
in comedy, and that's why she
I mean, she's a good enough
So
comedian to
that
be
way.
there. She just also happens to be hot.
absolutely.
It is what it is.
I wonder if she's becoming unhot though as she goes down the road of Joan Rivers. Shout out Joan Rivers.
Well, she says she's had no work done. She still stands by that. Not
No.
Joan Rivers.
No, Whitney's had work done. She said
No.
she had her tits
she
done,
said- yeah, but she hasn't had her face.
Not her face.
done.
Nothing on her
and
face.
she's like, yet.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
She
she said
intends.
yet, but her face looks like it's had work done.
100%.
Yeah.
When I remember when she said it, I was like, no
Yeah,
fucking way.
I agree,
No
but why would
fucking
she
way.
lie when
That's
you're
also
having
what I
a
said. Yeah.
conversation? You know,
Plus, someone could call her out. It's 2021. You know what I mean? It'd
this
be,
is
it'd
what
be so
this
easy
is what I'm saying.
to vet
like,
that. Yeah.
Well, the topic is out there. You're gonna take that opportunity to just say, "Oh yeah, I did." She doesn't hide anything else about herself. She talks about like sticking her finger up her rock climber. Dude's
No, she said
butt
she
and
couldn't
shit.
get it up because it was too
Whatever,
tight.
you know what I mean? She's not.
She was considering getting. It was weird. She was considering getting butt implants, but then she throw a little shade on David Copperfield for having a bodysuit.
Yeah.
I thought that was sort of weird.
Well, I hope Joe did talk her out of getting those fucking cutlet implants.
Yeah, just do some squats, bitch. Come
I
on.
don't think he even considered it, but he steered in the right direction. But I think Whitney does what Whitney does. Did it feel like she was even fighting sort of against cancel culture?
Well, it feels like everyone kind of is
Of
right
course
now.
she was. What do you mean?
Well, I don't remember anything. Obviously, it was criticism of her doing shows.
Tony and Brian, both their names got dropped.
That's what
this
it was.
episode.
She got a lot of flack for doing those shows during COVID. That's,
But I didn't privy to it, so I was like, I don't know what you're complaining about. Because I don't follow her circle, you know. I don't know what she's going through. I know there was some issue with people trying to tie her to Crystalia or Brian Callen when those things went down, which you thought would have been an opportunity to goss.
Brian Callen, like
Not
that comes
happening.
up in the last episode though.
That gets awkward? Okay,
Well, no,
excellent.
I mean I'm just so confused now. But even in this episode, he says Brian Callen, my best friend. He talks about him like they're still hanging out like they always used to.
Well, they must be. I mean, he's back on TFAK.
Again, Joe doesn't. He never brings him up on his own.
Yeah.
No.
He only brings him up when somebody else brings him up.
Mm-hmm.
But mind you, this week he did. He brought him up to Adam. Adam did. No, Adam
He brought him
it
up, but listen, his
Adam
name
brought it up.
his name was said. Him and Tony's name was said in this episode.
Yeah, no. They talked about Brian. Like
They did not talk about Tony.
By the way, did you see
because of the wedding.
Someone dug up an old tweet from what's his name? Pan Yang?
Pandang.
Pandang, yeah. And what did the tweet say? Simon, you'll love this. His tweet was like, if George Washington was born in Germany in the 1900s, he would have discovered electricity by what? Dude, it was crazy. What was the tweet? It was like he would have discovered electricity by tying or by lightning striking a kite or something.
Instead of a kite.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, how does this guy try to cancel Tony for some shit? Like, what is going on here?
Jesus.
No, it's despicable what this guy did.
Well, again, it's just clout.
And
It's clout chasing.
It's just a little bit. It's sort of like the difference between sexual assault or lying about a sexual assault, because apparently he had done this before.
Oh, really? To other comedians?
No, to him.
Oh,
Like they'd worked together, so this wasn't a complete shock. It was just
well, I knew that. I
using
knew
it as an
they'd worked together.
opportunity
Yeah.
for a clout chase. So, yeah, Tony's persona non grata right now,
Clearly.
and probably California dreaming.
Oh yeah, he got brought up this week because shit. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Oh fuck, man! I smoked too
I'm
much.
sorry, Tom. I'm sorry, Simon. That was my fault.
It's all good.
That was my fault.
No, Tim Dillon was the man of the hour for this episode.
Tim Dillon and what's his name get more free plugs than anybody
Schulz.
on the Joe Rogan show. Yeah, those are like his babies.
I mean, Schulz does a ton of Rogan defending over on his show
Does
as
he?
well. Yeah.
He's ride or die. I mean, that we were there when Schulz was on, and was like that was his coming out party.
Did you guys know that Whitney Cummings and Brendan Schaub dated?
Yeah.
I think
did
she's
know
dated everyone, and that's sort of the joke about the running joke as she talks
Not
to
Joe.
except for Joe, or maybe it
Because
was
Joe's been married for.
maybe it was a weird night.
Oh yeah, because she did. She dated Brian Callen. She said she went on one date with Brian.
She almost blew Bobby Lee.
Well, he blew a guy.
I believe there's something like that. Now, at the beginning of this show, they talked about a vampire movie.
Blade,
Blade.
You guys both seen it?
of course.
Well, you know what time it is.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon, 2 racks of brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game. Welcome back for the first time ever. That's amazing.
Dude,
that
first of
feels
all,
so amazing.
Shout out to Tyler Duvall, a longtime listener, made that lovely little movie game jingle for us. So shout outs to him. I'm going to drop a link to his Instagram. Go follow that motherfucker.
Big shout out, Tyler. Thank you
He's a
so much.
beaut.
He's
a
one
beaut.
of our 10 first listeners, man. That guy has been.
He sent us
kicking
an.
it
I remember he
forever.
sent us an Instagram video when we had like no listeners.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like,
That makes it a pro show, faux show.
Yeah. So
Thank
thank
you,
you. Shout out to
Tyler.
Tyler.
Thank
Big
you so
To new
much.
big
listeners,
dog. Big dog.
this
And he's
is
almost a year
amazing.
sober. So shout out to that.
You
That's
couldn't
not easy.
see me, but I was dancing in
The
here.
movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at box office.
I fucking swear to God we've done Blade, but I don't care. And I'm probably wrong because I'm wrong about everything.
It was Blade, Twilight, or The Cable Guy.
That's the wrong fucking book, first of all. That's the wrong fucking book.
And I watched that scene, and what they don't mention, because Tracy Lord brings the guy down there,
Yeah.
he survives.
Oh, the dude she brings down there makes it out?
He gets down there,
And
then
Blade-
all the blood starts going, and everyone around him, their fangs start coming down, and he's like, oh, fuck, and he just barely gets to the edge of the dance floor, and then he's at Blade's feet, and he scurries away, so. I like that when someone is almost getting fucked up, and then they get away.
Dude, this is going to be tough for a year. This is going to be tough. I know that I'm off. I just know it. Right off the jump.
Blade starring Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, Chris Christopherson,
Oh, yeah, Stephen Dorff.
and Bush Wright.
Stephen
Donald
Dorff,
Logue.
who's in Power of One. I feel like we've done this movie too.
See?
Because I
fucking
feel like
telling
I've had
you.
this whole thing. If
Who
you
fucking
haven't
cares, man?
seen
The theme
Power
song.
of One, great fucking movie.
The
Terrific
theme song.
book.
It's quite possible.
Okay, Simon,
Stephen Dorff.
I have a year.
I do as well.
I have a year ready. Okay.
I'm good.
I have 97.
And I have 94.
1998.
Ah, motherfuck.
1998.
Fuck
So
your
close.
mother
Well,
bitch.
he says it right in the movie song theme. Matt and Simon never guessed the year.
Well, there we go. Fuck. Okay.
So 1998.
How
Yeah.
much were they paying for
Blade.
movies back then? Great job, Tyler. That sounds so good in my ears.
Yeah. Go follow him on Instagram. I think it's at Tyler Duvall, Devall. But I'll double check and there'll be a link in the show notes. Go follow that motherfucker. Make him famous. Make him more famous than us. That shouldn't be hard. How much did this fucking movie cost?
I think there's like I'll say it after you guys guess something that could be taken into consideration.
All right, I'm ready. I'm good and ready. Cheeks, how are you, buddy?
Simon's scratching it out, trying to get it right. First movie game with the theme song.
Simon's- Yeah.
It's a title you'll
I
never
have
forget.
No idea. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I had 40 million to make and 194.7 box office.
Whoa. And I said 26 million to make and 124 box office.
Ooh, I believe we have a tie for the first theme song movie game. It cost $45 million to make, and 131.2 million at the box office.
Whoa.
That's a push.
Fuck.
That's a push.
Fuck.
And that's the movie game. Thanks to Tyler Duvall for that amazing fucking theme
It's
song.
the J.
No.
They talk about bears a lot, eh?
Bears seem to come up
Once a week, at least.
Yeah, a lot.
So what does that mean? Is Joe like gonna run into a bear or something?
No,
on
I
his
think
next hunting trip?
the bear is the apex predator, right? The polar bear, like of all predators.
Really, you think it's at the top? I don't know.
Well,
Well, yeah, a polar
it comes
bear.
into play their territory.
Well, let's play this out for a second. Polar bear versus like a hippo.
Polar bear,
Yeah, I would say the polar bear too.
especially because the hippo freezes to death
What can
in the
beat a
Arctic.
polar bear besides like a killer whale? But then it's an unfair fight.
I don't know if I still might go hippo. What about a great white?
No,
'Cause they go in water.
Forget the water though. It has to be a land
Okay,
fight. Yeah.
land. Okay,
So what beats the polar bear? I'm kind of with Kamar here.
The lion,
No way, man.
a pack.
No, but no packs. Just animal against animal.
There's got to be a bunch of wolves that fucked up a polar bear once.
I'm sure
pack
a
of
pack
wolves,
has
yeah.
beaten.
But I think for the most part,
the
the polar bear is the top of the food chain.
I
I
agree.
mean, it makes sense.
And
for
grizzly bear here in North America.
Yeah, very much so. And I like the term she.
Oh, but sorry. I'm sorry, Kamar.
Sorry.
Second apex predator, because Bigfoot,
Oh, of
Sasquatch, would be able to take out a bear.
Fucking Sam
Full grown male Sam Squanch could definitely take out
With
a
a
bear.
gun.
No.
I like the term she used, tolerable cruelty. That's where we've gotten to now.
Yeah.
Like she's sort of like the hot Phil Demers. You know what I mean? Instead of she spread her love out instead of one animal, but just like it's a big thing about the power dynamic of like the bigger the animal, the more pressure and shit it had to go through for you to sit there and see it. Joe gave her a bit of pushback with the elephants, and it occurred to me because she didn't even know that pianos are made out of ivory.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Were piano keys? Yeah.
You know what else was made out of ivory?
Go on.
Cue balls.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I bet you Joe has a crazy endangered collection.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Like, those are worth something. A 50-year-old cue ball made out of ivory.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. What do they make them out of now?
There were a lot of things made out of ivory back in the day, though.
It was from 1920 to like 1970. I think they were made out of
Interesting.
ivory.
That's a fun pull, Kamar. Good work. If that's true, I like that. That's a great little piece of great little piece of something.
And
Well, it's kind of like how tennis rackets used to be strung with literal cat gut. Like that was the strings they used. That's why there's things
Interesting.
called synthetic and natural gut. And natural gut, like if you buy it today,
Super expensive.
well, yeah, but it can't be still made with animal. But there must be some.
Dude, who was it? Did I hear them correctly? Steve-O gets the same tattoo as someone.
got all the tattoos of Angela Jolie.
That was it. Angelina Jolie.
He's gotten every single tattoo that Angela Jolie has on her body.
That's
That's
hilarious,
what they
including
said.
Billy Bob Thornton. That's fucking incredible. My favorite tattoo ever, though, is when. Do you watch Impractical Jokers? Either of you? Oh, that's too
Yeah,
bad.
I do.
When they made Saul. When they made Sal get a Jaden Smith tattoo on his thigh, dude, I fucking pissed myself laughing.
I'm sure I saw that, but that doesn't ring a bell. Just ivory, things they made with ivory, false teeth back in the day.
That makes sense.
Interesting,
That makes
yeah.
total sense.
Dominoes, piano keys, fans. I mean, they made all sorts of.
See, if you were gonna sit there and justify teeth, I could be like, okay, I could maybe get there.
And
But
they
like dominoes, cue balls.
They used mammoth, walrus, hippopotamus, sperm whale, killer whale, narwhal, and warthog as well.
I suppose I could abide it if it was like after death.
Yeah, but
If it was all responsible trading.
well,
you know
okay,
what I
yeah,
mean?
but I mean, I'm talking about if they're out there hunting them.
They're hunting them just to leave it there.
Yeah,
Tuskless,
dead,
yeah.
tuskless, yeah.
That's a crazy creature,
cold-hearted.
eh? The narwhal.
The narwhal, yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Mythical.
well, but it exists.
Yeah, no, I know, but
They're
it seems
all-
mythical.
Yes, right.
Like to look
the
at it.
unicorn of the
Of
sea.
the sea, yes, correct, yeah. Maybe that's what happened to unicorns. They just went into the water
When
one day.
became narwhals.
Yeah.
Maybe this is like evolution. Maybe millions of years ago, there used to be unicorns and they've counter evolved.
Interesting.
There must have
That
been
is-
unicorns because it is
Dude,
the
that
national animal of
is
Scotland.
Interesting. Is a narwhal a mammal? Like, is it a whale?
That's your department.
I think it has a.
Simon.
I think it has a blowhole. I
gonna
think it's a
I'm
mammal.
gonna find out right
I'm
now.
pretty sure it does have a blowhole.
Narwhals. You guys,
You know
keep
that The
going.
Little Mermaid was written as a gay love letter?
You're gonna have to expand on that.
You're going to also tell me how you got to that.
Because he was. I thought I narwhal. Then I went to mermaids, and that's. I don't know. I read yesterday that it was a.
Okay, what were you doing yesterday?
It was on Reddit. It was just one of those
And you're like,
interesting facts.
Did you like to be part of that world? world. Did
Yeah.
you love it? You did love it, eh?
No, my sister watched it like 10 times.
My
a day.
little sister loved it and sang the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
And I
Under
thought
the
it was
Sea.
adorable.
Like I probably heard Under the Sea
Okay, right.
16,000 fucking times. What is a diamond and why? Or no, what is a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn.
I got thingamabobs. I don't care. I want more. Well, Simon looks that up.
What am I looking up?
I don't know. It looked like you were on your phone. I thought
I
you were
was.
still
You
were
looking at
finding
things made of
narwhal
ivory.
was a,
oh yeah, narwhal.
mammal.
Is it a mammal?
Yeah, mammal. It's
Yeah,
a
it
whale.
has a blowhole.
It's a
Yeah, I
whale.
thought so.
Oh yeah. They use beagles for experiments because they're the most forgiving.
That's insane.
It's all right.
Yeah, well,
Ooh, I know you had to do it to somebody. That's such
how,
a
how else are you gonna get safe shampoo?
because you're not going to do it on a pit bull because it's going to fuck you up. I can't believe what you did to me.
Yeah,
And so they just take advantage of beagles. I thought that was really
sad.
tolerable cruelty, I suppose. Talked about suicide and stuff. How do you think Joe dies? Natural causes, cooking in a sauna.
Cooking
Hunting.
in a sauna. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like all this bear talk is that like coming up to this next one with the dreams is that, you know,
Because he's not a risk taker. He's not going to die in maybe a car accident. I doubt it. Or skydiving or something extreme. You know what I mean? Like
it'll be the self-driving car. He lets it drive him.
falls asleep, jerking off, whatever.
Interesting. He goes down via Tesla.
Well, when Elon takes over.
Imagine if that was his play. Joe's the first to go.
Well, that's you take out the strongest first, man.
Did you find there were a couple of moments when Joe started to say something and then Whitney be like, yeah. And like, oh, wait, you told me that. And they were reaffirming conversations that they had. It was almost like there is no proof for this now.
I know what you mean, where it's like 2 years ago, you tell me a fact, and I regurgitate that fact to you today, and you're like, dude, I heard that. Yes.
Yes,
And then we're
exactly.
both like, okay, so now we both know
Now
this.
I know even
yeah,
more
this is
than
for
you
sure
know
because
from what I told
exactly,
you,
yeah.
so.
In our case, though, it's more like I told you that last week, and now I'm arguing against it this week.
That's very
Yeah,
true.
I
that
forgot that I
That's
told you.
astute observation.
Happens a lot.
Joan Rivers, underrated.
It's so funny you say that because Mary and I were watching like the 100 best roast moments the other day.
I watched that as well.
And I was telling her, because she was like, who's that? I was like, Joan Rivers is like the female comedian.
She asked who Joan Rivers was.
I mean, Mary's young. But yeah, she
She should be up there with like Carlin though, and
In my
Pryor.
opinion, she is.
I really think
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
I've
But-
always loved her. She's always a brutal.
yeah.
Because one of the things, I was listening to again that podcast with Colin Quinn. Is there's a problem with comedy is the term punching down, and that you're already starting with a falsehood because it's not punching. No one is physically getting
it's
punched.
jokes.
So it's misleading to call it punching down. And he said it's play fighting.
Yeah.
So you can't, by starting off by calling, oh, well, you're punching down, we're immediately starting with a falsehood. That we can't accept that. So
It's a metaphor.
it is a metaphor, but punching someone who's down is actually a mean thing. But it doesn't exist in comedy because it's just for fun. It's just these people have to, this is the, speak of the woke crowd or whatever.
Hold on,
You know
though.
what I mean?
Like, you can use comedy to make people feel bad.
But if everyone laughs, it's funny. If you
Well,
do it,
it's-
make someone feel bad, and no one thinks it's funny, then you have a Tony Hinchcliffe sort of situation. Do you know what I mean?
This idea of not punning, like, it doesn't give carte blanche to just be a dick. You know what I mean?
We as society can't decide who's when it's punching up or when it's punching down. Like, who's to say? You know what I mean? Like, because someone's rich or whatever, then they can't make fun of anything. I thought that's what they're talking about with Bill Hicks, how he always made fun of pop stars and stuff like that. But if it's funny and true, it's not, the intent is not to hurt someone ever.
Are you sure about that?
With comedians who want to get paid and have a career, yes.
I mean,
Things happen along the way.
Simon, by and large, I agree with Kamar there. I don't think most comedians are out there to actually hurt someone's feelings. I think it's all, especially like when we're talking about roasts in this, in this example, like for sure, that's how you get better.
I think there's a whole like subculture of comedy that is just about making people feel shitty.
Okay, but hold on. That you're talking about a subculture that is not popular at all, realistically. Like,
I mean, I guess whatever.
But I mean, again, you could argue like Simon. Someone could argue that the skanks are what you know what I mean. And
yep.
But again, that's what Kamar's saying is who's to decide? Like if Kamar listens to the skanks and thinks it's hilarious, and you listen to it and think it's hilarious, then there's a market for it. And who's to say that they can't say that? So, that's kind of how I look at it.
And I just don't think that it's like a clear-cut statement that you can't punch down in comedy. Yes, there is punching down. There are situations I could give you where that does exist.
But I think Kamar's point, though, I think Kamar's point, well, okay, Kamar, I think what you're missing, though, is like, I think what Simon's saying is you can fail at comedy.
Yes.
And then the punching down can look bad. But I think what Kamar's saying is that just because you failed at a joke doesn't mean you meant to hurt someone. Like in the spur of the moment, there could be a guy in a wheelchair in the front and you make what you think is a funny joke and everyone's like, oh, and maybe another night it would have killed. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Often comedians talk about is the person that everyone thinks is getting punched down is enjoying it.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, it's like the Latinx thing where they're like, no, we're Latino.
Well, the best example is in the bumping mics. Where they have the guy whose face is burnt to fuck.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, they're making fun of him being a brutal burn victim.
Yeah.
Is that punching down? Because he's having time is like it's just it's the same thing as who's to say which speech should be censored or not.
I mean, I'll just play Diablo Avocado. There's the other side where like, let's say there's just 10 comedians roasting that burn victim for 10 minutes. You could argue that he's just happy to be up there. And that he's
Part
taking the abuse. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's not that's not
like those roasts are such a bad example though, because like if you're Donald Trump, let's say, and you're going into one of those roasts and you don't know that people are going to
yes, you're
say
right.
horrible things about you, then you're a fucking moron.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying is when you go into that, if you're on the dais, someone has to make fun of you. It's going to happen. They have it written. You're supposed to do the same.
Everyone.
Yeah, but yes, of course. I'm just saying best case scenario, one person at least is going to make fun of you. Best case. So yeah, I agree with you there. I'm just saying like, it's like Simon, what I'm saying is like people that go to comedy shows and get offended. You know what I mean? I feel like those people, like, what are you doing? Just go somewhere else. Go watch a movie. Go like comedy is not. Now, again, if the comedian goes up and is just like, fuck the Jews, I could get it why you'd be like, well,
But if they don't do it well, you can't name someone who does what we consider like all their actors punching down who's successful.
I agree.
Like we have one name, like except this one guy gets away with it. It doesn't exist.
I mean, people could argue Jeselnik. But again, his jokes are just so well crafted.
Just super dark. Like
but that's what I'm saying. I don't consider it that. I'm just saying I could see where someone might be like all his jokes punched down.
I wasn't suggesting that anybody be taken off of anything.
I know you weren't. I know.
This idea that nobody ever punches down in comedy, and it doesn't exist as a thing.
Everything happens, but it's not punching. It's trying to be funny. Like the fact that the phrase punching down has been adopted is like sort of a falsehood in itself. Like it's starting from a disingenuous place. That's not the idea at all of comedy. And people have said it's punching down and this exists as like it doesn't actually exist, I don't think.
I mean, I agree. I agree with what he's saying. Like it comes, you're supposed to be like, it's like Patrice said, when he was arguing about Imus, what did he say? He was
defending him.
Yeah. He was like, listen, not all rape jokes are great. Not all of them hit. I've seen some good ones. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I guess it's kind of like, okay, let's take two Holocausts, okay?
Okay.
Let's take the Jewish Holocaust and the Uyghur Muslim Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
People can joke about the Jewish Holocaust because, for the most part, Jews have done pretty well for themselves.
And for the most part, it's Jewish comedians who do that. I don't think everyone rushes to it.
That's totally not true. Lots of people make
Holocaust jokes, yeah.
All sorts of Jewish jokes. All I'm saying is, like, again, if you're making jokes about the Uyghurs who are right now being persecuted, that seems like you're punching down a little bit.
But if it's super funny, like say you tie together about your shoes and stuff and bring it back, it could be funny. It could be and super relevant.
I mean, I see both points. Listen, there's
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, comedy like life lives in the gray areas. You know, sometimes someone's gonna say something that does. I don't know.
Again, I don't care.
know.
Say it, but let's not pretend that it doesn't exist, that everybody's out there like, no, some people say things because they're hot button topics. Some people say things because they're inflammatory and they know by saying them, it's going to get their career further along. Like,
And I'm arguing you can't name many people so that doesn't work. So there's got to be a happy medium. Like maybe, I guess, Steven Crowder or Milo, are we talking about? Or
Steven Crowder is not a fucking stand-up comedian.
But he punches down. Like, I'm trying to say any name that does what Simon's saying as a mainstay and enjoys success.
Crowder, it seems like he's punching down.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just
the
saying,
best
like,
example I can think of.
you're a 40-year-old man going to college fucking campuses and trying
That's
to
the
argue
closest
with,
thing
like,
we can
yeah.
classify it as. So I just don't think it's overrun or a problem as it's sort of portrayed.
I mean, we know that there's always a vocal minority that gets a lot of stuff shut down, and it is what it is. I don't know that that's going away.
And I think it's created an opportunity for people to be more reckless and take chances or whatever.
Yeah, there's always an audience for that.
If what was that M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Which one?
I See Dead People.
Sixth Sense.
If Joe was in that, he'd be like, I see babies.
Why?
Because I was always said, ever since a kid, I just see people's babies.
Oh yeah, I see people's babies. Yeah,
I see babies.
it is a really interesting thought kind of experiment, though. Like, you know, you never, when you see like a homeless guy on the street,
yeah, you never think that guy was a 6-year-old happy-go-lucky kid.
just
at some point,
probably
yeah.
some kid with a normal life, and you know, who knows?
It definitely disarms your prejudice.
Well, it makes you stop and be like, how did they get here? Like, what happened was, you know, like, that's always my thing when you see someone who's like severely mentally ill in the streets. Like, how did society let it get to where they were? Like, how did we all let it get to that point? Because it feels like it's all of us, right? It's on us, no? Although I guess if you don't want help, like, what are you going to do, right? You can't force someone to.
A conspiracy-minded person would say it's that everyone could be taken care of.
Yeah, there is no homelessness in Japan because they make sure that everybody has a job. They have people like with these little batons that tell you to go this way and that way and this way and that way because they want to make sure that everybody's getting a paycheck.
If there weren't homeless people, poor people would feel even more poor. You know, they need them to be a physical thing that people can see like, well, I'm not doing that bad.
Yeah.
But you get rid of them because I realize I'm poor. Richer than I'm 1%.
Oh, yeah.
On the planet scale.
Yeah.
But middle class and rich are 2 levels above where I'm at right now.
Yep. So what's your point?
I'd feel like I'm treading much deeper water if there weren't homeless people.
Really? Like you go by homeless people and you're like, you feel good all of a sudden?
I'm not doing that bad.
That's a low bar, buddy.
It's a low bar, buddy. Which leads me to the best thing. Not the best thing, but like embarrassment. There are times just have the embarrassment of bombing on stage or not doing. It's such a weird thing because we've talked about how if you think everyone's thinking about you, they're not. I don't know how we phrased it before, but the embarrassment is self-imposed. Do you know what I mean?
That's not true. If you're bombing on stage, other people are embarrassed for you. It's like when there's a kiss cam at the game and someone gets denied. Like you're physically embarrassed for that person. Are you not?
But that nowhere is near the mortifying embarrassment that the person suffers.
Well, of course.
Well, unless they're oblivious.
Well, that's sociopath shit right there.
Sort of like Adam Duritz and Joe Rogan. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
God love Joey Diaz, eh? Like that he hasn't flown down like he's like, fuck you, Joe Rogan. I'm not going. I love how he sticks to his stuff, and everyone says he's just the wildest.
Well, I mean, I think we've established that he's fucking
and I bet you he
batshit.
punches down a lot.
By the summer, he'll be living in Texas.
Oh, bold prediction.
I don't know. I've heard a couple of his podcasts, and I think he's really happy.
He is just waiting for Joe Rogan to open up the Experience Comedy Club. And
Simon's even got a name.
What do you think it's going to be called? That's what I think it's
The
going
Lab. No,
interesting.
I've been listening to his podcast. He's really happy with the community and the life that his daughter has. So I don't think he'll be picking up everything and moving that fast. And that's where he's from too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see.
It was interesting when they're talking about the chickens, because she doesn't care about chickens. You know what I mean? Compared to the apex predator.
Yeah.
But chickens are descendants of T-Rex, right, Simon?
That's what we believe.
Birds are.
Well, that just goes to show why they're so vicious.
Well, they'll fuck up a mouse.
They still have a T-Rex's pinky in their DNA.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that all birds will eat meat if it's put in front of them. Like that's.
Yeah, but will they kill a live mouse? A running mouse? Like, will they?
Well, I mean, some birds just know their limits, I would imagine. But like, I think if you put like a mouse in front of just about any bird that's big enough, it'll eat it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, you need to see these chickens go after them. It's fucking insane.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
nuts.
They're vicious little motherfuckers for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure. I'm just not sure if it's because like this direct relation to the Tyrannosaurus Rex as opposed to just all birds being related to dinosaurs at some point.
Mm-hmm.
A couple more things. I thought it was a great example of describing comedy as a meritocracy. The Ali Wong example.
Mm-hmm.
You have a little pregnant Chinese woman can become a superstar. It's out there for you.
Yeah.
No one can say, well, it's all white guys or whatever. It is what it is. Funny wins all the time.
Yeah.
When they were talking about student debt, do you feel that's a little tone deaf when two rich people are talking about the plights of students? Do you know what I mean? Like hopefully they're raising awareness of an issue, but they didn't suffer it and they're just feeling sorry for other people.
I'm
get
still torn on the whole
tired
student.
of the conversation about feeling sorry for student debt, even though I suffer by it.
I mean, I'd still look at it the same way where like I have no student debt because I didn't go to school. I said, fuck that. And all these people that were like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And some of them spent that money on poker and fucking drinking. And now they want that debt relieved. It seems kind of fucking crazy.
Well, that would be exception. But I think they were talking about people are too young to realize the consequences of the decisions they're making now. Is it sort of like not a Ponzi scheme, but...
I mean, listen, there's also, we also know that it's set up in a way where they took a lot of money from a lot of people that probably shouldn't have gone to school. And
I mean, it was a giant scam.
I get it. I agree. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that like, if we find out that credit cards are fucking predatory, but we're not about to fucking forgive credit card debt. Like,
no, it just seems different when it has to do with the education. As
my big
opposed
problem
to
with it is
buying jet skis.
I mean, my big problem with it is that like even if you claim bankruptcy, it's not that's crazy. That it's like its own special debt. That's what seems nuts.
Well, the whole thing is crazy.
It'd just be better if one of them were crippled by it as a life experience.
Well,
At one
I get
point,
what
they
you're
had the
saying,
debt,
yeah.
but they're just like, I don't know.
You don't
Whitney
need to
might have
be-
had student debt. You never know.
You don't need to be crippled by something like that to be able to realize that it's totally fucked up and have an opinion about it. You know what I mean?
No,
But,
of course not. But week after week after week, like, okay, yeah, we get it, Joe. We get it, Whitney. Like, you guys feel bad for students and their debt.
You want them to put their money where their mouth is.
Maybe
and
they could
make
start a
fund
grant.
for students.
I don't know.
For student debt.
The most hilarious thing, they're talking about Andy Kindler. You guys don't even know who he is. You love Andy Kindler.
He's a
Simon.
comedian.
$25 allowance. Now, how am I going to give you $23 for allowance? If I reach in my pocket, give you $19 for allowance. What lessons you going to learn? I mean, $15. Yeah. Where? How do you think you earned $14 for me to give you allowance? That's Andy Kindler.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how at Just for Laughs, every year he'd get up there, burn all the agents, burn all the producers, burn everyone in the industry, and where is he now? Like, I loved it, but it hasn't served him well.
Yeah.
He lives in legend of the guy who shit on the industry, and now he is not part of the industry.
Excuse me. Rap music is full of that. Dudes that were just like super gifted, but did like fucked up shit. I mean, Old Dirty, I cannot believe Old Dirty Bastard ended up being, like, he famously took a shit on someone's desk. It seems like the industry at that point would be like, well, we're done with you.
I just think there's people who don't like Andy Killer. Like, have you ever? He's hilarious.
I think I've seen him. Yeah.
He's really funny, and you think he'd just be a legend by now.
Yeah.
Be
But again, if
around.
you're
be
gonna
this
shit on
guy.
everyone in your way, then it's tough to get there.
Yeah, everyone appreciated it, but everyone laughed and didn't want everyone to see their face when they're laughing in the room.
I mean, the guy's been in tons of movies and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's weird. I was thinking about the best success you could have. Maybe he owns a nice house and he's doing well. When
Maybe
I
he
hear about
was as-
podcasts,
Maybe he was as successful as he wanted to be too. Forget about that.
he jokingly complains that he's not happy where he is in his
Gotcha.
career or whatever, but maybe he's joking.
Could be shtick.
But I think like the level you want is like a Duncan Trussell. Now, there's way more successful comedians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With a lot more problems of exposure, but he's got a house, he's got a wife, he's got kids, and that's what you would want. Be a little famous, not too big.
I think you really just want, if you can find your own lane, like your mom's house is a good example where they have just so many diehard fans that like are almost uncancelable.
Well, this is what I've been trying to espouse for weeks, is this new celebrity, this new thing. And you know what I was thinking about where it could go to, but not in our lifetime? Do you remember The Fifth Element?
Of course.
Chris
Tucker.
Chris Tucker character.
Yeah.
He was like a universal star.
Yeah.
I mean, right now he can only be a global star, but who knows if we could start wormholes and stuff, but how popular just one individual could be. Or watch it develop in front of our eyes.
Just to admit when I'm wrong, sorry, Andy Kimmler has been in nothing.
Well, there you go, Simon.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying, Kumar?
I just thought it was funny that Andy Kindler shit on the industry for so many years and now he's not really in the industry.
All right, what's your last point for Whitney? We got to take a break and move on. Oh, wow, you have a lot of notes there. Jesus.
Love her work. Oh, no. I'm moving on to the next one.
I think he's going out of his way to love this female comedian a wee bit too much.
Well, no. I was going to bring up, Whitney started at 23.
Yeah.
So at 6 years, she started doing Two Broke Girls.
Definitely didn't pay her dues.
She definitely paid her dues. She was an actor. She said she was going to the open mics.
I don't even understand anymore.
She's waiting for hours to do 3 minutes. She was going off at midnight. Like, she had a much harder foot in the door than Anna Mikowski. There was no Kill Tony when she started.
So I don't get it. Kill Tony is just the easiest way into the industry?
Kill Tony, not anymore.
Wow.
It was a good leapfrog, but I don't think there's anyone from Kill Tony who's blown up besides the Kill Tony show.
Yeah, what's his name there with the big nose?
What's his name?
Ari
With the big
Shaffir.
nose?
No, who is in The Wave?
Jeremiah Watkins?
Yeah, isn't he from Kill
Yep,
Tony?
yep.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
that's probably the biggest
I
success
meant
story.
as it's basically would be a showcase with Ali Mikowski started as an open micer, then got on it, and from that she's turned into a headliner in 7 years. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
And look at Joe List is a headliner, but he's been doing it for 20 years or whatever. Like, Annie Letterman is so much funnier than Anna Mikowski, but she has had a much harder path to get to the same place that they're at. And I think Whitney Cummings has paid her dues.
Well, she's about to burn a lot of bridges. She said so herself with that 5.5 hour podcast.
I hope it isn't just lip service.
I mean, again, if you
Well,
can
I
always
mean-
say that, and then you go back and listen, and you're like, it wasn't that bad.
And they're releasing it well after the fact, so they have plenty of time to
Edit out everything
whatever
that
they
needs
need.
to be
Yeah,
removed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
But had Whitney had to struggle for 15 years before she got her first break, I mean, she'd be way funnier. Like, it's way more challenging now to be successful funny. But she's made the transition. So, yeah, I don't have a bad word. I thought they were just too silly and giggly on this for myself. I
didn't
thought
love
Joe
this.
might have been on Adderall.
yeah, I didn't love this episode either. Not because I have anything against Whitney. I just found the conversation was like
Yeah.
weird,
I have no problem with
Repetitive
it.
stupid.
and omissive.
Omitted.
What did they omit?
Well,
The
they didn't talk
Brian
about
Callen.
Tony Hinchcliffe. They didn't talk about Brian Callen. They didn't work Crystalia or like.
Yeah, the Crystalia is weird when she's on too. That they don't mention that, but okay.
Well, I mean, she did briefly. She said that people tried to stick her when,
No, Joe actually said the
Okay,
name
sorry.
Dalia.
but either way.
She did not, and she did not bite on his bait.
Oh, that was the last thing. She jokes about her track coach trying to shoot himself.
Yeah.
Because he made me run faster. Joe laughed way too hard. It was funny, but he went. No, he threw him. If you watch it, he threw himself almost out of his chair.
Oh, really?
Like in 3 times speed, it's like in normal speed, he is like, stop, I need a doctor. And then pivots and goes, oh, my friend just killed himself, jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like, what? And she had to pivot. All of a sudden, like, oh, that's so sad how that happens. You know what I mean? He was. I don't know.
All that time to think on the way down. I can't.
Fuck
Out of
no.
all the ways, you know?
Especially knowing it might not even kill you.
Oh, I think that kills you.
Yeah, but you don't
People
know
have
for
survived.
sure.
Multiple
The
people
Golden
have
Gate
survived.
Bridge?
Yeah.
Maybe a
Hold
lower
on,
point. I
hold
don't know.
on,
I don't know.
All right, we'll rate it. We'll start with you, Kumar, since Simon's looking up how many people have jumped and not died.
Whitney Cummings is who I think she is. 2.5.
Is she also the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals?
Exactly.
I give it a 2.
And I give it a 2.75.
All right. Well,
Or
there you have it.
2.5, 2.5.
Oh,
sorry.
quick switch. 2.5.
The fatality rate of jumping is roughly 98%. As of July 2013,
More
only
effective than COVID.
34 people are known to have survived the jump.
There you go, 34
Those
people.
who do survive strike the water feet first and at a slight angle, although individuals may still sustain broken bones and internal injuries.
There's also sharks, so I assume that's not... like I said, I don't think a lot of people survive, but I know people have. Either way, that being said, we're going to pay a bill, and we will be right back. Thank you to Pot Stickers. Go check them out.
Is that dumplings?
No, it's not dumplings. It's
But-
pot stickers.
That's another name for dumplings as well.
Yeah, but specifically in the ad read, the first thing I say is these are not Asian dumplings.
Then that's why it's funny.
Yeah.
1655.
Sorry, I don't mean to be a prick, but come on, can you confirm the red buttons?
It's confirmed.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thanks.
Man,
We
the
are
distrust. The
well,
level of
no.
distrust.
The disappointment if
I know.
it does go
I
wrong
understand.
is worth a little bit of distrust.
Yeah.
It's not distrust. It's just
Simon, it's a healthy distrust.
everybody should.
It's suspicion.
Everybody
questioning.
should
it's
be
just
spot
it's
checked.
reasonable. 1655.
Simon, that's your cue.
Oh, I don't fucking
Sabastian
know.
Junger.
Thank you, Sebastian Younger.
Junger.
The
Younger.
younger of the elders.
Oh, ba-dum-ching, ba-dum-ching.
It never occurred to me that like you can lose blood inside your body.
Yeah, and 90% of your blood, and then there's no way to get it out, but it has to reabsorb into you. That's weird.
But you can't reabsorb it to use it. It's just like it becomes garbage. I thought that's just.
So I
don't
wonder,
think
are
about
you
that.
shitting and pissing it out?
Yeah, I would assume. I assume that'd be the majority of the way it comes out.
And then all of a sudden you just like weigh 30
No, I don't think you
pounds
shit and
more?
piss it out. It's a hematoma, isn't it? So it's
is that like a blood blister though, right?
I believe so, yeah. So it just
a
like
massive
heals it.
blood
Yeah.
blister in your stomach.
But don't quote me on that. I'm a fucking high school dropout moron. I'm just assuming that you don't shit and piss it out.
Not in one big thing. I think just gradually. That's how it would pass.
I mean, again, if it was in your stomach, maybe that's how it would pass. But that seems wild.
And he almost died. I mean, this was just such a transition from the Cummings episode.
That was a crazy story where he's talking about being sucked into the void, because that seems very like, I don't think that was a like a heaven and hell thing. I mean, maybe it was, but it seems like a very,
It was purgatory.
you're like being pulled away from reality. And he's aware of that, but then he sees his dad, so that blows that whole thing out of the water.
He might have a run for the money with that Bigelow contest. Remember
only
Bigelow was doing
proving-
contests about people who almost died and came back?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's the proof though?
That the nurse came and said, you almost died?
No, I'm
Do you
saying
wanna know that?
for Bigelow.
I think he said that with anything. What's the proof of any of this? It's just the most realistic, best story.
I know,
and
but
this
he-
guy's a great storyteller.
He's got to pay, so they're gonna need some proof.
And this guy's going to have a hospital, the doctor's note. He almost died or did die for a second. I don't know. That's what I assume. But do you want to know he almost died?
Yeah, why not?
Because then you have your new lease on life.
I mean, again, I almost did die, and there was no new lease on life. I was really young, though, so I
But
don't
did
know
they
if it-
come in the room and say, you almost died yesterday?
No, I think...
You just put it together.
I think you just ask at the end, like, what happened? And
He's saying he was in the room, wasn't sure, and the news came and said, you almost died last night.
Do you remember anything from being in your coma?
No, I remember going into it. That's it.
But you don't you didn't live like a whole life while you were out?
No. I remember the paramedic saying, whatever you do, don't close your eyes and go to sleep. And then I was out. And then I remember waking up almost like in those like an 80s sitcom where like there was just a bunch of heads around my bed. No, that shot they always had of someone coming out. It was like that and just my whole family there. And I was young and I remember coming out saying, oh, fuck, that hurt.
And how long was it? A day?
2 days.
It was only
For
two.
two and a-
It was
two and a
only
half
2
days.
days. I thought it was like 30 days.
No.
I
I was in the hospital
The way you
for a
talk
month.
about it, it makes it
Oh,
seem
sorry.
like
I
it
was
a long
sorry.
time.
My coma wasn't long enough
Yeah,
for
you
you,
got your
Simon.
coma.
Holy fuck!
But it could have felt like an hour to you.
Felt like no. It was like a blacking out when you're drunk. This is just the exact same thing. That's how I would describe it.
And you had to you didn't actually literally, but look at news. You're so young, to prove to yourself, really? That long?
No, I mean that's it. I was so young that there
that
was never any.
long. 2 days.
This fucking.
I thought it was 30, man. I thought he was out for a long time. Like his mom was by the bed for a month.
Well,
She just had an easy 2 days without me, right, Simon? I mean, fucking breeze. I'll just call me when he wakes up.
he was out a lot longer than Sebastian was.
I'm not saying it's not a big deal. It's still a big deal. The way you talk
it?
about it, it makes it
How often do I
seem
bring it
like-
up? Like, shut. This is fucking
I don't know.
bananas.
Maybe once every 2 episodes, Kamar, do you think?
I think once every 3 episodes.
3
but
episodes.
Whatever. I mean, it's your experience.
You guys are fucked.
No, often we come
You guys
with
are fucked.
near-death experience, head trauma,
Yeah.
this sort of thing. It's your anecdotal offering, of course. It's not going to go away. It's your Ari Shafir
And
puppies.
again, I'm not I still think it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Simon.
It's just not a huge
You're the expert on comas of the 3 of us. That's for sure.
For sure. I mean, if anybody needed to go to somebody,
Oh no,
about
I'm
the
sure
coma-
Kamar would have some sort of what you haven't really paid your dues. 5 days that's a coma where you paid your dues.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to be that guy. But I think it's like 5 days is a
Okay.
coma. Anything less than that is just
Okay,
a
so
long
I just had a
nap.
long sleep. My apologies.
8 hours.
I'll take it back.
Anything
Okay.
more than 8 hours is crazy.
Fucking Simon.
His body was trying to tell him he was going to die.
Oh yeah, that's crazy, right?
Well, do you remember the joke? I forget what guy it is, but a guy's in a boat or whatever and it's sinking. And a plane comes up to him and is like, hey, do you need help? He's like, no, God's going to save me. And then a boat comes and is like, no, God's going to save me. And then he drowns. And he gets to heaven and goes, God, what happened? And you're supposed to save me. He's like, well, I sent a plane and I sent a boat. It reminded me of that same sort of thing. Being tough is not a good thing if you want to live a long life.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, he was saying he was ignoring these pains. It was just a pain or whatever. Who knows how much closer, he almost died.
Do you remember that not very long ago there was another person on and they told a story that was so similar to this, where they had a dream about dying and then almost died?
No.
It was somebody on Rogan not very long ago. And I remember listening to this and was like, holy shit, another person is saying this same thing? When are we just going to know?
Was it Marcus
that-
Luttrell?
Who was Marcus Luttrell? Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe it was
could have
Marcus.
been.
Lone survivor.
I really don't remember, but I definitely for sure remember somebody telling, because I remember thinking shit, I have dreams all the time, not about dying per se, but things that are things that could happen in my life is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
But his body
Whatever,
was trying
guys.
to tell him that he wasn't well for a period of time. And then it culminated with you are not paying attention.
Yeah,
Here's
no,
a
dude, I'm
crazy
really not
dream.
well, yeah.
And no, didn't listen. Okay, we're going for it. Sorry. You're just not heeding the warning.
so just Matt, in all fairness to your coma,
Oh,
comas
here we
can
go.
last for a couple of hours. Apparently.
Well, you're looking this up?
Yeah.
You didn't even trust this guy's a
No,
fucking-
I
let
just
him
I
belittle
wanted
your
to know
near-death
what
experience.
the shortest coma could be. you know?
Gotcha.
Can you be out for 20 minutes and they call that a coma?
Because listen, if I was out for a few hours, I'd agree. It seems like you just got KO'd, right?
Yeah, I mean, or whatever. You were
Knocked unconscious
out.
for,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that how they used to put people out before there was anesthesia?
Do you want to know what the longest coma ever was?
Sure. 27 years.
hold on. Holy shit. This is terrible.
Oh, this guy's probably been in a coma.
On August 6, 1941, 6-year-old Elaine Esposito went to the hospital for a routine appendectomy. She went under general anesthetic and never came out. Dubbed the Sleeping Beauty, Esposito stayed in a coma for 37 years and 111 days before succumbing in 1978, the longest ever coma according to the Guinness Book of World Records.
Is that cruel?
That's a horrible way to go into your coma, man.
But after 15 years, or was there like, what are we doing here?
Well, unless you come out and like, you know, you still
After
get-
15 years, like, like Joe
You're like
said,
Encino Man at that point.
his grandmother was going to die in 2 hours or whatever. She lived 12 years. After 15 years, if they're not waking up, they're not
No,
waking
it
up.
seems crazy unless you're that person and then you get another 30 years out of your life because somebody decided that, you know, not to pull the plug.
Well,
So
hear
let's
me
ask,
now.
how long do you want? Yeah, I was just going to say, how long do you want?
10 years.
I'm planning on
You want
being
10?
cryogenically frozen, so I would say a lot of years.
So you're down just indefinitely for the coma.
What about the culture shock when you come out?
That's what I was saying,
years from now,
Encino Man.
Not knowing anything, iPhones are in everyone's hand, all that stuff you have to adapt
like
to.
fun, but it wouldn't be
No.
Encino Man because you know, he's a caveman coming into modern times. You'd be like a
close
modern
enough,
man
dude.
going
You
into
said
futuristic
1940?
times. For her coma?
Yeah,
It was 1941, yeah.
that's 80 years.
It'd be like Back to the Future.
What do you mean 80
Hoverboards
years?
and all.
She came back in 78.
She
Oh,
didn't
she
come
came
back.
back.
No,
in
sorry. No,
78.
no. They
She never came
died.
back.
She
Oh,
died
she
in
died.
78.
Okay, I thought she was
30
still in it.
years. 30 years.
30 years.
30
Jesus.
years, 111 days. So
Yeah, see, that seems like a waste of resources too.
Just leave it like it's like a prisoner.
well, they fucked her over. It was she went in for an appendectomy,
And so they kept her alive
and
to
they
feel
put her
guilty,
yeah,
and then this didn't work out.
They just kept telling the parents,
Well,
like,
they
we're
didn't
on
want
the
to.
cusp.
They
We're on
didn't
the
want
cusp."
to pay the lawsuit, so they're like, "Well, she's still alive." It was probably a loophole to not have to
Well,
pay
that's
out.
just
the,
as disgusting. Poor
yeah,
girl.
well, agreed.
It's insane.
Anyways,
Is it weird that he sleeps in the same bed, his whole family, on the floor?
that came out so weird, eh? Is it weird
Is it weird
That he sleeps?
That he sleeps
in the same bed?
same bed with his family on
His
the floor?
whole family on the floor.
It's like Larry
I'll
David.
take that as you guys don't think that's
Yeah, I think it's odd.
just a little bit of a detail. And I thought he was talking about years ago. I used to live like this, but this is in New York City, on the Lower East Side. His whole family sleeps in one bed. I don't know.
Well, he has
again-
2 tiny little children.
You don't usually have tiny little cribs for them.
Yeah, I know, but I know, like, listen, I've heard of lots of people sleeping with their kids until they're like, you know, 4
Rent
years
rent
old.
in New York is insane.
That
too.
came out weird. Well, you could still
He's
have.
Sebastian Junger.
Okay. I thought it sounded weird.
No, I'm just Maddie. Like, you don't think he's rich?
I don't know. Should
I
we
think
play
I'm
that
gonna
game?
check. Yeah.
I bet he's worth $2 million.
I didn't think it was necessarily a monetary thing that he.
Oh, you think they have a 4-bedroom and
We said we sleep on the floor. Not we don't know. It was just yeah. I think he's endured so much. A bed is uncomfortable, the softness or whatever.
Oh, so, and he doesn't even want his family to enjoy the trappings of a bed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Don't wanna spoil them.
1.5 million. He can afford a
I
bed.
was close.
That's their.
I was close.
No,
It's just they're
he doesn't need
living
a bed.
as
He
a
can sleep on the
unit.
floor, but he can afford a crib,
All right.
a little.
There
bunk
must have
bed
been
crib.
better notes you have in there.
Well, I thought it was interesting when Joe talked about the concept of too much time, not enough time for our balance. You know what I mean? If someone tells you this is going on forever, that's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, geez. But if someone says this is all going to end in 10 years or 10 days, whether you want to or not, you're like, I don't have enough time. What is our happy balance? As long as we're healthy, I think it is. Because I've always wondered about 80-year-olds who are incoherent, their bodies are breaking down. Like, do they want to stay alive? It's not my place to put them down or whatever, but is that a happy existence?
Kamar's just the angel of mercy going from hospital to hospital, putting old people down.
He's just got a gun.
It wouldn't be me, but I would want to be put down if I was just pissing myself and shitting myself and incoherent.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation.
I mean, my grandfather had Alzheimer's for the last couple of years of his life, and it looked miserable. But there's that side of you, too, that's like maybe in his head, It's the roaring 20s.
I was just gonna
and he's
say,
just fucking
like,
living the Gatsby life. Like, you don't know.
Maybe Alzheimer's is the body's way of taking over so that you can like
Die peacefully or something. Maybe
be
it's the
better.
ultimate DMT
Yeah,
trip.
this
Like,
is
who
what I
knows?
mean.
I doubt it, just judging by, you know.
probably
But I'm
not.
just trying to play Diablo's Advocate.
For the record, if I'm in a coma for 10 years, please pull the plug.
You should get them to sign a DNR, buddy.
Do not resuscitate.
Yeah.
I'm going to get tattooed on me. Frank Gallagher.
Yeah, you watch that, Kamar?
I like that.
No, I'm just making it up off the top of my head. Of course I watch it. I love Shameless. Good Morning Vietnam, too old for you?
No, this is so ironic. My parents used to use me as a party trick. I had a Betamax when I was young for some reason in my room and like a black and white TV. And I don't know why, but I used to watch Good Morning Vietnam like twice, 3 times a day. And then they got me the CD where it was just, it was the weirdest CD ever. Like it had all of his radio stuff
Not
and then
the
the songs.
songs. And the songs.
And the songs,
Complete
yeah.
soundtrack.
But I used to just skip the songs. So I memorized all his monologues. And my parents would make me,
Women in comfortable shoes.
my parents would make me down from the Delta to the DMZ. My parents would make me do the whole fucking thing when people were over. So I've definitely seen that movie hundreds of times.
It's hot. Damn
hot.
So hot you can fry a snake's ass. So hot you can cook an egg on the sidewalk.
It's hotter than a snake's ass in a wagon rut.
It's super cool. The performance, and the story
Oh, the story's super
of
cool.
that. It's
because
a
I
true
didn't know
story
that.
about the
about the guy. Yeah.
or DJ who actually did it, who's he's impersonating. So yeah, it's a must see, as he said. Because what this boils down to is he's talking about freedom.
Would have been a way better movie game.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's do it.
No, not two. We
Not
can't.
two,
We're
not
just,
today.
we're
Maybe
killing
next
this
week.
lately. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure because it was so old. Someone said y'all shouldn't be doing movies. Somebody had seen it,
I mean, I agree with that.
but then I asked you, did it? And we've done Blade 6 times now. Anywho,
Still can't get it right.
you guys haven't following the Joe Budden thing at all.
So let me just say this. I tried to Google him kicking them off or YouTube it. Sorry. Oh, fuck, I sound old. And I just can't listen to Joe Budden talk for more than a minute.
How does this fit into this episode? Just out of curiosity.
He was talking about leadership.
Yeah.
Sebastian, the what's important about leadership.
Yeah.
And everyone's been going around. Even Kevin Hart spoke up and said Joe Budden failed his leadership, firing his co-host publicly. Just without talking about Joe Budden, he did describe what Joe Budden did wrong or failed as what we need as a good leader. Because a leader isn't just someone who insulates themselves to stay alive. Sort of put themselves out there.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was funny that he parlayed that into talking about Liz Cheney. Because Liz Cheney is daughter of,
Dick Cheney.
and remember she denounced her sister.
Meghan McCain.
No. She was a Cheney as well, but she was gay. And when she started in politics, she had to say she was against gay marriage, even though it was breaking her sister's heart. It's just weird that she was become a hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what is it? Politics makes strange bedfellows or whatever.
Yeah.
Because her dad is Dick Cheney as well, and now she's the guiding light against the Republican Party. I just thought it was
It's not McCain.
No.
Your dad? It's not.
70% of the U.S. thinks, or the Republican Party thinks the election was stolen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? Seems like kind of a shocking
They
number.
have statistics to prove everything. 99% of people know that.
But I wonder what percentage of Democrats thought the last election was stolen.
Probably not 70%.
I bet it was closer up there, or think Russia had something
What
to do
about
with it.
when George Bush Jr. stole the election? How
That's the
many
best
people
example.
thought
That's
it
the
was
best
stolen
example
then?
yet. The Democrats just went away. Said, "Okay, you won the
Yeah,
election."
exactly, because they did what was supposed to happen
Yep.
in that situation. You don't make your country look like it is crumbling at its core. You
And
put
even then,
on
you
a
can't-
brave face and you move on.
Keep in mind, you can't be mad. They investigated Russia and then it was over.
The
The
last
same
time,
way they investigated the election.
Hanging Chads.
it seems like that was the last time Son was the bigger man.
When back then?
Obama was, everyone was happy or whatever. I fear going forward, these elections are going to be dirty like this every time.
Yeah, of course. From now on, moving forward. It's going to be
Well,
gross.
it's going to be really interesting to see who runs next time. Like, is this going to become a thing where the left is going to throw in like an Oprah
Rock.
or a Rock, and then the right is going to throw in like
Tucker
Carlson? I was just thinking the exact same thing.
Wouldn't it
Or
be Kamala
somebody like
Harris?
well, she's on the left.
Oh, sorry, you said the right. Who the right?
Well, she would still have to win against somebody in the primaries, right?
No.
What do you mean,
I
no?
don't-
Yes,
Yes,
they
she
do.
does, yeah.
Of course they do.
It depends if
She doesn't just get the nomination straight
she
up.
becomes president if he dies or steps down, though.
Yeah, but she still then
No,
doesn't.
but I'm saying like
she
Trump,
might not
next round.
necessarily get the
Trump had
the
to
nod.
beat out whoever. I don't even know who he was.
I don't remember he did that. I think he just
It was against what's his name there? Ted Cruz? No.
Oh, he ran, I'm pretty sure.
in any event, that's some cold lotion. If she becomes president and then when it's her time to come around, they kick her out.
They could do it, though. It'd be,
Some cold lotion.
I couldn't see. I could see them doing it 100%.
Did you see the meme of her when she was dating Montel Williams?
She dated Montel Williams.
That's fucking
Montel
great.
Williams is the ex-Marine who turned a talk show, right?
I didn't know he was a Marine, but that sounds about
He's
right.
bald.
Yeah,
Yes.
bald guy talk show. Yeah.
I think I'm mixing it with This Is How We Do It. That's Montel Jordan.
Montel,
yes.
yeah.
She dated Montel Williams.
Montel Jordan.
Montel Jordan is the This Is How We Do It. Montel Williams is the...
So which one did she date?
Kamala Harris was Montel Williams' side piece.
This is how we do it.
No.
Talk show. Poor man's Geraldo.
Gotcha. His side piece, or they were together.
I believe side piece. I believe side. Well, that's the clip, and all I'm bringing to the show to keep it hot and scandalous. Then they got in the big man, small man debate, which is super interesting and pushed Joe
But then I wanted to bash my head against the wall
to the edge.
Joe just didn't get what he was trying to say, obviously. Well, whenever it comes back to UFC,
Well, Joe, okay, this is the problem as I saw it. Joe was using the weight classes as an example. Like, Joe was using, like, if two guys are fighting at middleweight and one weighs in at the top end of the middleweight scale and another guy comes in 4 pounds lighter, the guy at the top end of the scale is probably going to crush him in the fight. I think what this guy was saying was, like, if you put Henry Cejudo in there with Ngannou, he could deke and dodge him potentially for 5 rounds, tiring him out. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably not going to knock him out or submit him, but he's going to have ways of not getting killed in there.
I just think the guy shouldn't have used the MMA as the
MMA was the
example.
worst example.
Well,
he
no,
could
The
have used.
better example was if you and I, Joe, are in a phone booth, you're going to kill me. But if we're out in the field, exactly to Matt's point, I'm going to run around until you're tired, and then I'm going to turn and maybe fight you. Or I'm just going to run.
Yeah, like I said, I think once he brought MMA into it, that's what derailed the whole conversation.
But he was using it from Chael Sonnen.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
And I believe I could see Chael Sonnen saying, because Chael Sonnen said, you want to fight someone who's just high, a bit above your weight, because you're going to have more energy than they are. Have you ever watched I think it's K2 or whatever, but Bob Sapp
yeah,
fights this other fat guy?
yeah.
And 2 minutes in,
They're both dying.
they can't walk over
Yeah,
each
I
other.
know.
Like, it's so crazy what real gas looks like, where you see the guys who are 132 pounds, they look like they're going the whole time.
Bob Sapp has been in some crazy fights.
But it's a
man.
real thing. If you could
yeah.
outlast someone, the longer you last, the greater your advantages.
Yeah,
Even
of course.
if you're
Yeah, the more
smaller.
staying power you have. Yeah.
Stamina, yeah. It's a no-brainer.
4 categories in the Olympics. Is this the only solution?
I think so.
I think so too. Well, no. I want 3. I want to really put the test to the test. Trans, whatever you are, good luck in there. Let's see.
Oh,
let's
because
see
then
who
it
comes
really,
out on
that's the
top.
proving ground.
I think so.
Well, the 2 categories of trans kind of feels like they're fighting against themselves, no pun intended, you know?
I was trying to think, would it be?
I mean, the real argument is if you're going to have 4, why not just keep it to 2 and do what we've been doing for the last couple hundred years?
or it's a new Olympics, just like you have the Paralympics and the Special Olympics, and then you have the Trans Olympics.
Are there enough athletes to make that happen?
Well, I'm sure in some countries there's none who would admit to
Yeah.
it. For
The
fear of
Iranians are
persecution.
like, please come forward, anyone who is transgendered and wants to join the
one
team.
made
The
it up.
problem is like you're not getting the best of the best athletes. You're getting the best of the best athletes in that specific demographic.
Well, I mean, what are we doing here?
What do you mean?
And again, the example they used was powerlifting.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, I guess you say. It's just when it's combat or injury can be sustained. You know what I mean?
No, but even then, like skateboarding, like you can't put the women against the men. They'll just get absolutely decimated.
These
like,
people have trained their whole life to try and be the best in their sport, and then they're being put into these unfair situations. Like, that's what people are upset about.
Simon used to play tennis. He'll tell you right there, like you could put the number one woman in the world against like a university man's player, and he's gonna fucking crush her.
That was the whole argument of the battle of the sexes there, right?
Yeah, but they think he fixed it.
No, I know, but that was like his
idea.
thing. He was saying, look, even your best woman can't beat me. I'm a 500th ranked tour fucking bum, you know?
I'm just saying serve alone. Like if you compare the women's serve to the men's serve.
You're talking about like
it's 60 kilometers of
20 kilometers difference.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's substantial.
I
That's
think
all I'm
it sort of got reiterated again when I think it was Tiger Woods versus Annika Sorenstam.
And she was playing from the women's tees? Or
I
they
don't
were
remember
both playing
that,
from the
but
same
she was
tees?
blowing away all the women.
By a long shot. Yeah.
There's no competition. And then she played against him and he blew her away.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the separation.
But that's also unfair because he was the best in the world at the time. They should have put her up against
she was the best in the world of the women.
Yeah, but they still should if they had put her up against like the number
Ricky
20
Fowler at the time or something.
The number 20 guy, you know what I mean? That's the real
And there was 2 minutes when Michelle Wee looked like she might be a competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah. A small insurgency can beat an empire. That's like our legend, eh? Of people.
Well, it's like 300.
Or Star Wars.
Well, that's what he was saying, what makes humans so special, right? Is
do we have a genetic thing just to pull for the underdog?
Well, we don't let power become the most important thing, like in a wolf pack, where the smallest wolf will never be the leader. But here you can have Obama as the leader, even though The Rock is going against him.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
And then I thought really he tried to break this down about what is freedom. I remember when we had that hangout with Crusher on my back deck, Simon?
Yeah.
And we were talking about rights of freedom, whether they're the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought this guy explained it, why they're not the same thing. But he to do it, he demonstrated he went on trains, stowed away on trains with his buddies in their 40s. I think they stowed away to have gay sex or whatever, on and off for 4 years. Then, well, we'll just go be hobos and live off the land. But I thought it was interesting how he described there's no actual freedom because you either have the government telling you what to do, or the community telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Or you break off and you just live complete isolation. That's the closest you get to freedom.
Well, I mean, again, there's always listen, without some sort of rule, there is just chaos. Like that's Michael Malice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you need
the extreme.
So you need we can't all live with absolute freedom because then think about it like this. If everyone has absolute freedom, that in itself takes away some of your freedoms. Because unless you're the biggest fucking axe wielding dude, you can't just be out there doing whatever you want.
It's rights that are given.
That's it. So, we act as, and that's why, and I found it weird because I felt like he didn't want to answer Joe. And he was like, what is the most free place on earth? Again, it's how you interpret it.
There is no 100% free place on earth because just like you said, there's going to be freedoms you lose.
Yeah. But I also said this too, and I think this is interesting. I said this a couple weeks ago. I brought up the Scandinavian countries and how every year on all those indexes, they score super high on the happiness scales and all that. And then I brought up the fact that that's only because really the U.S. is as strong as they are. Like we're a perfect example. Like if the U.S. wasn't the powerhouse they were right below us, who the fuck knows what our history would be right now? I mean, I guess we had the UK behind us forever, but
or it would be France.
Maybe. I'm just saying, or that, yeah. But I mean, again, like you just don't know, like without them keeping everyone in check. And he brought up NATO, like we've all signed these treaties that say you attack one, you attack all, which is great. But it's really only like
for that group.
Well, for that group, yeah. But I'm just saying is that's what keeps it all together. But there's really only one power there that's doing anything, and it's the U.S.
Set to fall.
You believe their army's going to fall?
No, he was talking about comparisons of other empires that sort of have similar characteristics that then fell. But I don't know who the nomadic community or whatever that is. Because that's what he had all these examples of empires that fell to nomadic people who didn't have a lot of stuff and just could pick away.
Yeah.
No time frame. And it didn't cost them a lot of money, which has always been the indictment of the Afghanistan war and stuff like that. Like, are they feeding it out? And all of a sudden they wake up and goes, we are fucking broke. But we'll see.
Isn't it like $11 billion a day or some shit? Some shocking number.
Well, they just, or he was talking about another reason why the Iroquois stayed put, right? So the Europeans came over and just gave their disease and they had no chance. Where the Comanche kept moving around, the whole tribe had to go.
They slept with their clothes on.
40 miles, we have to go tomorrow or whatever. Like, and this was, we're leaving again. It was just, this is life and this is how we stay alive.
That sounded like a crazy group that decimated the steppe there, I think he was talking about, and they operated in chariots on horse.
I was going to
horse
about
and
the
chariots
Yemeni
back
I
in
rolled
the
in,
day.
killed
Dude.
battle axes in
Oh
chariots.
yeah, battle
That's
axes and
nuts.
chariots.
5,000
Fuck.
years ago. But think about how there's no communication.
Yeah, you just have to like
Hopefully
send like
someone
carrier
on,
pigeons or
someone on
a
horseback
horse.
goes,
Yeah.
guys,
They're coming.
They're coming.
Well, that's why they were sure to leave people alive to tell their stories.
No,
right?
they
also had
only
smoke
kept the
signals.
women alive
They had smoke signals
to
too,
rape
though.
them.
Yeah, well,
But-
that too.
Some people may have been lucky in warning, but some people just got rolled up on.
I watched this. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is a really interesting thought I had during this, though, is when he was talking about, he was like, often when they were fighting the Iroquois, because they were so good at like moving around on horseback, they often thought they were fighting so many more men. And I just wonder how many of these battles is just folklore on both sides, where like some Englishman went back to England and was like, you wouldn't believe
If there's
it.
40, there's 400.
No, that's it. You know, but there must have been 10,000 of them. And then same with the Iroquois. Like, maybe they were telling the story too. Like, oh, we must have fought off 10,000 fucking white men.
I have two minds about that. Yeah, I'm sure people exaggerated, but I also think that like there were so many more people than they gave them credit for when they first got here. Like they
Probably.
wanted to make them seem like savages, right? That played better into their story.
Or just that
but
they
if
didn't
it was
kill
they
off as
got
many of them.
here and there were, thriving cities of millions of people.
They just
that
look destructive and
decimated.
assholes.
I'm just
But the thing is, that shows an odd amount of foresight that I don't think they had. Like, I feel like back then they would have decimated them and cheered about it. Like, it would have been like a point of what am I looking for? Like it's
Yeah,
bragging
I
rights. Like
get
you
it.
go around the world saying like we took out this, because back then they didn't give a fuck. Not two hot shits.
I saw this really interesting documentary. It was about Titus, who is the longest serving silverback gorilla leader of his troop.
Okay.
He lasted for 30 years.
Yeah.
And they were telling his whole story over 30 years of how he came into power and how he kept the power. And I think, I can't really remember, but I think like when he was young, he got pushed out of his own troop because you can't have, once the males reach a certain age, they chase them off.
Okay.
Like the silverback.
Yeah.
Once other silverbacks start getting their silverback, they're pushed out of the troop because he doesn't want any competition for his,
Spot.
for anybody else to procreate. You know what I mean?
Alpha male.
And what happened was Titus, I think, was like fucking some chick behind his dad's back because it was his dad,
Okay.
the other silverback. Anyways, they got pushed out, and then he had to go live out they're supposed to go live out on their own in the forest. Mm-hmm. And I might be getting two stories confused here, but anyways, out in the forest, he goes and instead of living by himself, he groups up with these other silverbacks who have been kicked out of their group.
Okay.
And they actually start having sex with each other because they are like, it's not like a sexual thing, it's a love thing.
Weird.
Yeah, it's a really, and then he goes back to his troop, his original troop, and becomes the boss and rules for 30 years.
Interesting.
It's like with Simon, it's like, I don't know where it started, but I know it's going to end with animals having sex.
Anyways, if you ever get a chance to watch that documentary, it's, I don't know.
What about the guy that
called
followed
Titus,
all
I
this to
think.
document this? Like, that must have been his life
Well, they
too.
talked about it was actually like many groups of people who spent 30. You know what I mean? It's not. There were.
It was a long process.
To Kamar's point, the camera the filming at the beginning is like very rudimentary, and then years later they're much better at it, and they can get much closer to the gorillas. And
You sold me. That sounds actually interesting.
it's an amazing documentary. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I thought I would take the opportunity to
Talk
let you
about
know about
gorillas
it.
fucking. Yeah, man. It's
Strong.
always relevant.
Strong.
That's how I roll.
Could you imagine how crazy it would be? He was talking about guys loading old rifle.
Oh, it'd be insane.
On a dead run.
Yeah.
Forget about just sitting there being afraid of someone. What if you're like,
With 1,500
Kamar,
Native Americans
think
on
about
fucking
how the
horseback.
wars used to be fought, like the Civil War.
Yeah.
One group would shoot, and then they'd reload while the next people shot at them. And you'd have to be lucky enough to not get pegged with a bullet to get a chance to take your second shot.
it's just so crazy, this evolution of battle
Yeah.
where we've gotten to now. Even from like where they would do the Braveheart.
They're just running at each other.
Bash into each other. Like this was a step up.
Well, have you
Just
seen the
sit
last
face each other.
Have you seen the Last Samurai?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Terrible movie. Great scene of
But the
fighting.
scene, yeah, you know the scene I'm talking about where they're just like, they're trying to get rid of all the samurai, and they introduce the machine gun from America.
Yeah.
Well, a Gatling gun, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like all these samurai are just like storming the hill with their swords, and this dude's just sitting there, just fucking.
Talk about the
just like
the potential for a great movie, that they just fucking bumbaclotted.
Was it Tom Cruise a bumbleclotter though? Is he supposed to
No,
be
the
Asian?
story was
No,
just,
he's an
supposed to be a
American.
white
Okay.
guy.
that gets captured by the samurai, and then
They
it's-
train him as their own. He falls
Yeah,
in love with one
yeah,
of the ladies,
yeah.
and
it's a whole.
then he
it's a
fights
whole
with them
thing.
at the end when.
Did you understand the lesson that is learned with Cain and Abel?
Oh, I turned off. I don't care with these biblical stories. I mean, I listened, but I was like half there, if you know what I'm.
Did you get it, Simon?
The lesson of Cain and Abel.
Well, it's like the farmer is the simpleton and the nomad is like out there. But when it came to it, because Abel had raised a goat, he was able to give it to God, and Cain had nothing to show, so he killed. It was some people
The have and the
resenting
have-nots.
harder workers or something.
Okay, I'm gonna find out.
No one got that?
Yeah, well, that was like the fall of communism too, wasn't it? With the bourgeoisie and the.
The symbolism is painted, but it's just, again, he was just saying how we have conflicts. Then he talked about there's a difference between peace and freedom. You can't nearly have peace and freedom. You know what I mean?
How so?
People fighting for freedom. Like peace doesn't necessarily lead to freedom. Sometimes there's to be bloodshed, or someone has to fight back a force for the illusion of freedom that now we have. You can't actually have complete freedom. But I think I messed up in my head that peace and freedom are the same thing, but they're not.
So in the biblical book of Genesis, Cain and Abel are the first two sons of Adam and Eve. Cain, the firstborn, was a farmer, and his brother Abel was a shepherd. The brothers made sacrifices to God, each of his own produce, but God favored Abel's sacrifice instead of Cain's. Cain then murdered Abel, whereupon God punished Cain by condemning him to a life of wandering. Cain then dwelt in the land of Nod, which sounds like an awesome place, by the way, where he built a city and fathered a line of descendants beginning with Enoch, who was the guy who saw the UFOs. So just to bring it all full circle.
So he killed his brother and did all right for
the
himself.
wheel within the wheel.
That was convenient for you, wasn't it?
I did not get the lesson. I thought I was getting out of that then.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the lesson either. But basically, God liked one brother's sacrifice more than the other.
And out of jealousy, he
killed the
killed
other
him.
one.
And then it all worked out for him.
No, I mean,
He built a city.
did it
He had the anguish.
in the land of Nod.
You should just watch the Jack Black movie. This is all covered in that one.
Year one.
Yeah,
I watched This Is the End the other night.
we spoke about this
Recent
last
movie
week.
game.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
Okay. Anyways, it is just one of my favorite comedies of all time.
it's very good.
When he is talking about jerking off to James Franco, there is like 5 minutes there where I cannot catch my breath to laugh at the next joke because I'm still dying from the joke before. And when they're digging the hole and he's arguing with Franco and he walks away and Seth says, "No, Danny, come back." And he's like, "No, I've walked away too far already. And then you just hear Seth Rogen saying, no, you haven't, man. You're right there. You could just turn around and come back and help me dig. It's
Yeah.
so fucking good.
I would definitely throw that at Joe Rogan. There's no funny movies. Danny McBride is
It's hilarious.
special kind of
Well,
magic.
and then after that, I watched. Have we already talked about this? Am I just repeating myself?
Maybe,
now?
but what else did you watch?
Pineapple Express,
No, you didn't talk about this.
which is not as funny, but so funny. Like
Do you have to be a pothead to enjoy it?
You've never seen it?
It really helps. You get all the inside jokes, but you don't have to be a pothead.
No, I think you're
to
annoyed if
enjoy
you're a
it.
pothead. A little
okay,
bit. Like,
fair
it's
enough.
Not, it's not like that. You know, you might think
It's
that
not like
opinion.
that, but those guys are just both so funny that like
It's a movie. Everything's going to be over embellished.
fucking hilarious, man.
You talking about
Hilarious.
the old West towns where the murder rate was like 70%?
That's
Like,
insane.
everyone's just killing themselves
Yeah, it's
because
nuts.
there was no women there.
Just a terrible time to live in, I imagine, the old West. Like unless you're a guy who lives in a house where nobody is around,
There's a mountain in
life
the back
was
of it.
hard.
No, even then, that house, like, all it takes is fucking 4 guys on horse, and it's like, oh my God.
Well, I know we've talked about this before, but whatever. It was a long time ago. That movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, where he comes to America. They come from like
Far and Away.
Yeah, Far and Away. Thank you. And the way they claim their land is in that big race.
No, that's Quigley Down Under.
No, it is not Quigley Down Under. And they like literally, it's like a race. Some people are on horse, some people don't have horses, and they're just running to try and get a piece of land to
plot.
stick their stake in. And I know that wasn't how it was everywhere, but like that was the old West, you know? You were just grabbing land.
yeah. It's crazy.
And then you had to defend that land. This is what we were talking about.
And
last.
your
I'm
neighbor
with
would
you.
come to you and said, you are defending this land, you're defending my land, or you're fucking out of here. And that was like, even though you're free, the community now steps in and like, we got to all be in this together. So you can never achieve true freedom.
Wow, you just circumvented that whole conversation right to where you wanted it, eh?
Yeah, he's good at that. But either way.
And then just moves right on to another point.
Well, we went full circle there. That was a good wrap up.
All right,
That was a
okay.
tidy little bow. I thought.
Boy, you kept talking. No, I'm sorry, Simon. Born in America to be president, that's stupid. Right?
I think so, yeah.
A country of immigrants you can't have an immigrant there.
I mean, is it stupid though? Then you hear Younger talk about it like that is there to stop certain things from happening. You do not want somebody from Russia coming over and just like making a mockery of
That'd be
your-
so
That's
suspect.
such a long con.
If they
Like,
had a
it's
horrible,
so
thick
hard
Russian
to,
accent. Honestly, please, America, best country ever. Putin, I'm coming. But no, I have left all ideas from behind.
How does everyone like free money?
But I guess the immigrant's son can rule the.
And like to
president.
Kamar's favorite point, like you just put in no time. You don't pay your dues and you just flit over here from somewhere else and run the free world. Like, I don't think so, bud.
Well, whatever. You'd have to pay dues to get up there, as we've seen it. I guess.
Do you? You could
I
just
guess
be
Don-
like some cartel bigwig.
I guess
that they
Donald
put
Trump
in
is
and
the
then
freest
run the
ride we've
whole
ever
show,
seen become
you know?
president.
I just like how you guys make it seem like becoming president is this overnight thing that like anyone could.
I don't.
Donald Trump.
I think he's the
Hold
only
on.
one who just.
Hold on, but he didn't because
flew
you're
in there.
forgetting that like he was a big name for 2 decades before he became president. So
He
had to-
needed that brand to build off to.
same
become.
way with Arnie. Like, do you think Arnie would have become governor? No fucking way unless he was Arnie. So like, it's just I don't know. I think you should.
If they had open
be a
borders
meritocracy.
like that, you would have like
best person for the job.
no, you would get ulterior motives being put into play even more than they are now, and they'd be coming from the outside instead of the inside. Like,
It's hard enough to get into that country and to get a fucking green card, let alone to rise to the absolute top of the political world
We
and then
know-
get voted in
we
as
know-
president of the United States.
No, I don't
Yes.
think it's that hard, man.
Are you fucked?
Listen, the Russians, the Chinese, everybody has been putting people into America since the beginning. Like they've had 4 generations of families.
Well,
already.
hats
You
off
would
to them if they go that far.
You
and
would
get a
never know the
president,
difference.
Go for it.
You would never know the difference.
They've probably already had 3 or 4 presidents in place.
Which Asian? They already had 3 or 4. You're hilarious.
I'm just saying, man, that like we know that that's part of the playbook, right? Is to put people in, make them seem like they're one of your own, so they get all the info, and then they can.
Yeah, but first of all, what you're talking about is usually they put someone of their own in and then just like puppet master that person. It's not like yeah,
exactly.
It's not like they send an American to Venezuela, raise him as a Venezuelan for like 40 years.
There must be a lot of ways to skin a cat. First of all, the end goal is to have your person in that position of power with their finger on the trigger, and you're making all the decisions for them. Like, then you don't need bot farms. You don't need any of that shit. You don't have to waste any of your time. You have a straight line to the very tippity top. I would imagine that's the end goal for all spy operations.
And as I said,
I love that what you said was so crazy. I looked at Kamar for some sort of like help to back me up and then was like, oh, it's not coming.
No, I'm in.
Well,
yeah.
But as I said, if you pull it off, fair play to you. Fair play to you. Have at her. If you're going to go through this thing.
Meanwhile, Putin's an American.
That'd be great. His
Right?
name is actually like Daryl Johnson.
Right?
It's all
because
just a big fucking
if they're
ploy.
doing it, we're doing it too. It's winds of change, baby.
As long as they keep making their money.
We're out there changing hearts, changing minds, one hit song at a time.
Simon, I'm starting to think maybe you're a young CIA agent trying to make his druthers.
This would be a very good place to do
Wouldn't it?
A periphery of the very most popular podcast that nobody listens to.
And you're like, the lady doth protest too much? No, because eventually it'll become so big and then it'll be perfect. Like, it's like all the shit they throw at the wall, right? You'd be the perfect, it's just a podcast about a podcast.
It was depressing when he was talking about
who would possibly waste their time putting
Exactly.
in that type of hours in a podcast.
See?
It's the ultimate cover.
I told you, man.
Listen,
I'm on to you.
If you
I'm
want to
fucking on to you.
put me under the lamp, put me under the scrutiny, I'm happy to accept it.
I'm on to you, bro.
Well, keep watching. Nice story.
they were talking about the vice lords, which is probably a big reason for all the violence in Chicago. I remember when I was in Minnesota, they were talking about the vice lords. Like that's a gang that you don't hear as much.
I definitely
the Bloods and the Crips.
thought it was because they liked vices, though, like drugs, not because they got you in a vice grip.
I mean, the first one seems a little like too on the nose, no? Vice lords? I mean, I guess. You never know.
Once you're in, you can't get out.
The Hell's Angels.
But
Like, I mean, that's pretty on the nose.
it all was circling around.
The Banditos. Like, come on, Matt. These guys are not looking for puns out there.
Defund the
funny guy.
police, and the only way you can defund the police is by legalizing drugs.
I refuse to have this conversation again. I'm sorry.
The legalized drugs conversation.
Fair enough.
The cops defund the police. Like, this is so last year.
But just legalize drugs,
do talk about it a lot.
in that you do defund the police.
Yeah, I know. We are hit that button 3 times because we are definitely in agreement.
We have an agreement. We have an we
It's
have
the
an
fucking
agreement.
remix.
He thinks to bring the country together, jury duty, and give blood.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever given blood?
Nope.
I think I did once, yeah.
Right.
Never been on jury
When
duty.
you came out of your coma?
Well, one of them came out, they were like, we just took 10 pints. It's part of the process.
We do that on any coma that lasts more than 24 hours.
It's 10 pints a day is the price of admission. So that's 20 pints from you, sir. Thank you so much. Jury duty sounds like a
We take it from-
nightmare, but now that the way he said it,
We're all invested in this. I mean,
yeah.
In the simplest form, this is how he wants to achieve what he's trying to achieve.
No, but I agreed with him when he was like, jury duty, it also does put you in a place where you're like, one day someone might sit here and judge me, and
For best perspective.
I'm sure nobody thinks like that when they're doing jury duty.
no, you're probably right, but I'm trying to put rose-colored glasses on here, Simon, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're disgruntled. Really told me all I needed to know.
I'm just thinking like that, a jury of your peers. It's like,
It's just investing in the system so you're part of it, so you care, I think.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
and
it's
doing
kind
your
of like
part.
putting
Skin
the
in the game.
snowplow on the front of your car. If everybody, again, was just responsible for their little piece of sidewalk,
I mean, I'll say this, though.
get a lot of shit done.
When you find out that the appeals court is actually just a bunch of judges, you almost wonder what we're doing here.
Right. That's not a jury of your peers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so let's say a jury of your peers says you're guilty. Well, I mean, I guess it never happens if you're not guilty, though. You never have to
They're
appeal
hoping.
not guilty.
They're hoping that
They
in
don't.
that case
They don't appeal.
You're
They're hoping
getting,
that in
like,
that case-
the best minds.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
are
that
not
makes sense,
gonna
yeah.
necessarily agree with each other.
Well, no, but you're also at that point saying the judges know the law
Yeah,
to
no,
a
that-
T,
that
whereas
makes
these
sense.
fucking yahoos.
The problem is that the judges are so often corrupt that,
there's that too.
Nothing is really.
But I mean, the big problem is if you're in like who was that fucking weirdo that they thought killed the woman who was coming to buy the used car? There was a whole documentary about it.
at Avery.
Avery, yeah. You know what I mean? Like when you have a jury that's just like that, it's tough to get a proper judgment.
It's so weird. I just listened to a podcast about that.
Wow, it's coming back
last
so
night.
interesting.
No, it was an old one, and I re-listened to it, and these guys were like taking the idea that he was guilty
They were taking it from that angle.
and
yeah.
that Netflix had made this movie
Had
and like
painted it in a different
in a
yeah.
totally wrong light.
I read an article that
and the
said that
things
too.
that they omitted
Were
actually
like
changed the story
with the death knell.
completely.
Yeah, that's what I read
And the
too.
things that they highlighted actually changed the story completely too. Now listen, I'm sure it was a little bit of column A
It has
and a
to be
little
a
bit
little
of
bit of
column
both. Yeah.
B.
Yeah.
The biggest travesty in that whole thing is that he had to take the 400,000 instead of the whatever millions because he had to represent himself against the same people who owed him the money.
Yeah.
Like if right away
Super corrupt.
the fucking group of judges can't see that there is a huge problem there, like who's looking out for who, right?
Yeah.
To your point.
Yeah, pretty big conflict of interest.
You need more than a group of judges. You need like
It goes back to civilian oversight. It's back to the
online
people.
civilian voting for whether people should
Yeah.
be killed or not.
Yeah.
It's a giant thumbs up and thumbs down. We can take that back from Facebook, people.
Yeah.
Can
Kamar, was
use
that
it
it?
for murder.
There was just one cop can handle 10 men. You need 10 cops to handle one woman. You say how the unions were getting beat up by the cops, and they put cops on the women on the front line. All of a sudden, the cops had to take pause. So, like, there has to be balance with the sexes.
Because only 1 in 10 male cops would hit a woman.
I don't even know if it's that high. It's just it gives pause, and it like, what are we doing here? Like, I have a mother, I have a sister. I can't.
Well, isn't that what they were doing in like some of the wars in the Middle East there? They would use women,
I think so.
children as human shields.
I think so. He was just saying you need women in conjunction with men to have success.
Oh, I see. I see what you're
volume.
driving at. I'll agree with that, Kamar. You're kind of bearing the lead on that.
Well, I like what he said too about how like it's really the police fucking unions that are the biggest problem.
Oh,
Because they just don't hold anyone accountable for anything.
but they're trying to cover their asses. It's just a horrible mess.
But it's weird because you would only want the like if you know one day you're gonna get in a gunfight, don't you want the best of the best around you?
Yes,
Like that's kind of how the SEALs work, right? Like
Yep.
they weed out the guys that are gonna be there and
that
be
they
the
can't
best.
depend on.
That's exactly it. And I just feel like, and I get it, there aren't enough people to do that with cops, but like they need to be better trained and they need to have fucking accountability.
Well, that's the whole
Just like the vice lords.
argument of having women cops, period, right? Because if that's not the best person for the job, or soldiers or whatever, firemen, fire people,
yeah.
because if you need to be pulled out of that building and Billy can do it, but Susie can't, you're going to die.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it happens in firefighting that often, to be honest.
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't think it's like, I truly believe firefighting, they take the best of the best. I don't think they take women that can't carry you out of a fucking building.
they don't have their progressive quota.
I think they might have some quotas, but I don't believe that it's that hard to find good people.
According to, what the fuck is that show called? Baltimore Fire or whatever. It happens all the time.
Okay. Okay.
that's
That's where
the
I
source.
get my information
yeah,
from.
that's a quality-
ABC sitcoms.
Quality
no, not
source
sitcoms,
right there.
Sorry.
Okay, are we done with Younger? Or?
It was powerful how he talked about. He read his book and he talked about Michael Mallon, because that was an interesting thing. I didn't ever realize that England was occupying Ireland and they just rode them out and won.
Well, they still have a piece of Ireland.
They do, but they went from terrorists to become a political party to there.
And Scotland is still under the control of Britain.
And he just said that guy wrote a really heartfelt letter to his wife.
Yeah, and they all got weepy, even when he was reading it in the booth.
6 hours before he's going to go to the firing squad, and I just thought I'd read it. His last words was, James and John, to you, take care of your mother. Make yourselves good, strong men for the sake of, and for her sake, and remember Ireland.
Wow.
I was wondering. It's on the internet. You can just read it.
That's powerful.
Yeah, this was a powerful episode. In conjunction with Norman, these guys might have something.
I thought this one was great. Like, out of all the episodes this week, this is the one that, like, I was able to
It was riveting, yep.
really sink my teeth into.
So are we rating it then?
Uh-huh.
That's all you had, Kamar?
Yeah, yep.
Let's start with Simon.
I'm going to give this one a 3.75.
I'll go 3.5.
I'll give this a 3.8.
3.8.
There's a lot of history stuff in this that I sort of
He
glossed
just
over.
prices righted me.
Well, he does that.
It's my prerogative.
All right, last one of the week. A big surprise.
1656. It's a weird call
Like I felt like
It's a weird call.
I feel like you willed this though. Like you personally.
because Simon was talking about how he likes counting crows a couple weeks ago.
Well, you read
Well,
the
no,
lyrics.
that was weird.
You read the lyrics
I
to
said-
Mr. Jones
I
on
sh-
air.
I shit on him.
And shat on them.
And Kamar called
a B-list celebrity. Well, he said actor.
He said actor.
But either way, I gave him the benefit of the doubt again. He said B-list, even though he then was like, there's no such thing anymore.
I mean, when Joe was talking about like dirty little pleasures with music,
Yeah.
these guys are my dirty little pleasure with music.
Really? Name another song other than Mr. Jones.
Long December.
Yep.
Okay, name one more.
I could. That whole album though, that Long December's on,
Round Here.
is good. Round Here,
Okay.
yeah. There you go. Thanks.
So Kamar hates it, knows more than you.
Well, no, I went into going, I'm going to fucking hate this guy.
Oh,
But
I
Adam Duritz
I hated him.
is who I think he was. And so it made it all right. And I love how he's like, dude, I love how you like just express yourself and dance. And like, yeah, that was like the worst thing I ever did in my life. That ruined my life, basically. I'm so
I was super
embarrassed about that.
self-conscious after that. Yeah.
That which you thought was the best was he thought was the worst. Legit, he was very honest and candid. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a good lesson for everyone that you can see something that inspires you, and it can be eating away at that person. Because, like, who knows? Maybe seeing him dance in that video made Joe like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be more free. Maybe I'll start a podcast or something. Like,
Yet, conversely, him dancing in the video made him never want to dance in a video again or move his body again,
yeah,
ever.
I don't want to be in any music videos.
But it was like he said, he feels like people think he is someone he is not.
Yeah, just kind of like his song "Rain King" or another one, "Angels Asylum."
The guy's a walking
The
jukebox.
murder of one.
Do you know what the problem is?
Hanging around, daylight fading. I could name you many more, but
Can I actually tell you what the big problem is? Other than them being perceived as like a one-hit wonder, it also in that video, he's got white dreads.
How does he have?
I didn't
dreads?
know he was white. He's white dreads.
Yeah, so
I thought he was black.
I
like
know.
a white black dude.
so you thought it was like Darius Rucker,
Yeah.
but with like dreads.
Well, for a long
Good
time,
friend.
I thought they were the same person.
fair
in
enough.
all fairness,
So, but
them
that's my
being my favorite band and all.
But that's my point is like having that like white dreaded kind of longboardy look about you ingrained in everyone's head forever. Everyone has this like preconceived notion for sure. I felt bad for him when he was when he was talking about how like people would come up to him on the street and be like,
Telling me sucks.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. I was like, well, this is what it was like before Twitter.
yeah, I guess, yeah, people just had to come up to your face and tell you were shit.
I was having a hard time because he just looks so different.
Yeah.
Like I was, like, have you guys seen? Perfect example. Have you seen this new movie Seth Rogen is doing?
No.
I want you to look up right now Seth Rogen. Okay, Seth Rogen new movie,
This listeners, look it up. Like and subscribe on the YouTube.
and the two of you, because this is like insane.
You want me to look it up right now?
Yeah, look it up right now. It'll take 2 seconds. My phone just.
But what
did
am I
something
what am I
crazy.
looking up? A photo of him?
Yeah,
or-
you're gonna see a photo of him. He's kind of turned sideways. He's got a mullet,
Okay.
and just look how it doesn't look like him at all, man.
And that's what's bothering you?
Yeah.
Seth Rogen.
Anyways, it was like that with this guy. Like, first of all, how did he ever have dreads like that? He doesn't even have curly hair.
Beeswax. You just get them done.
Something is amiss.
He did not earn them the dreadlock way.
And I don't know. I went back and looked at a bunch of pictures of him because I was trying to like figure out what the fuck was going on. Do you see it, Maddie?
No, I can't find it.
Okay, hold on a sec. Look up Seth Rogen, no beard.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so I went looking up more pictures of this guy because I wanted to find out what the fuck was going on. And there's one beard style he has.
I see this. Okay, yeah, I'm here.
You're there, Maddie? Do you see
Yeah,
what
with
picture
the
I'm talking
mullet,
about?
yeah.
That's Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
My wife showed me that. I pulled up pictures of Seth Rogen. I'm like, look at this and look at it. These two people are not the same. These are not the same humans.
Yeah.
Because you only know him when to have a beard. Or be fat. He's lost weight as well.
He lost weight. There's something else. Because even him without a beard, you still know it's Seth Rogen. It's just now his face is all like gaunt.
Well,
and
I found it in an independent UK article saying Seth Rogen fans struggling to recognize actor without his beard. So you're not alone, Simon.
Anyway, so back to Rutger. I went and looked up some of his previous looks.
Duritz?
Or Duritz, rather.
Yeah.
He has the dreads a lot. But at one point, he does this beard, and I highly suggest you go look at it, where it's only... So the beard starts here at like the bottom of his chin and goes all the way around like it's half of a ball. It's very interesting. Yeah, this guy played around a lot with like weird fucking facial things.
Yeah, because to see him now, he looks like he takes 2 kids to soccer practice 3 times a week and drives a minivan.
He does not look like the same guy.
Like if I walked by him on the street, there's no fucking way I would have been like counting crows. No fucking. I mean, first of all, you both thought he was black, so no way this guy walks by you on the street. And,
well, I thought he was half black, like
fair enough.
Like Zoe Saldana.
Okay. He's not.
No, I don't even know if she is. Also,
It bugs you. Well, we might be removed, but if someone you don't really agree with likes the same music you like,
yeah, like
that weird thing, you know what I mean?
No, because music is so like worldwide. I never thought like that. No.
It doesn't bug you if you like find out that somebody you hate is like a huge fan of Jay Dilla, and then you're like, oh shit, we share that in common.
Not
but
at
I
all.
think you're
No.
an idiot.
He's bigger than us, Simon.
Yeah. Plus, that's like just I don't know. That's a weird one.
Hater mentality.
That's like if you found out someone was like Shawshank's the best movie ever, but you thought they were a dickhead. I don't know. You don't.
No, music is different though. Like, you know, lots of people feel like movies are good, but to like that weird band that you are, you know.
I think there was something to be.
popular.
It used to be way more precious than it is now, with so much access.
Well, yeah. Now, there used to be something about like a band that no one else knew about because.
And then that guy you don't like knows it too. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? So it's retroactive. It was there.
Maybe
we moved on and past it. And then he pops off and goes, yeah, we know a lot of good friends. Or my good friends are Brian Callen, Jeff Ross, and Lori Loughlin.
I don't know who Lori Loughlin is.
Yeah. So he's friends with the woman who just went to jail for buying her kids into university.
Oh.
And Joe references it halfway through the podcast.
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
know.
gonna be so close to president. He's like, yeah, what a crazy time, hey, Joe?
Totally clueless.
It was so weird. And he tells an elaborate Brian Callen story. And Joe's response, he goes, Callen's quite the character.
Yeah. I know. I was like,
I've heard of
really?
him.
I mean, he laughed too.
He laughed. He's really moved into the stand-up space. He mentions Sierra Tiana. Do you guys remember Sierra Tiana? I think she's been on Joe Rogan.
Well, I think she was in the 1 year. She was on the End of the World special.
Yep. She's hilarious. And there's something going on there that she's not been on as much as a lot of other people. I really like Sierra Tiana. Hard worker.
Again, goes out of his way to tell us.
No, because you guys hate him.
Comedian.
He owes a debt of gratitude to that woman performing. Joe does. Because he was shitting on her, right? To the DJ going, it's a long way to tell me you want to rock and roll. Like, he wasn't being supportive.
He told that story twice this week.
He was punching down.
He told many stories twice this week.
sorry.
No, but I think he remembered it that time for real and grasped it. And now it's going to be a new mainstay
weekly
story of how
okay.
that happened.
That makes sense.
And then he tells a story about doing the club and there being no reaction. Like the ultimate music bomb.
Yeah.
That he just played there. Like if you could just imagine your head, I'm laughing so hard. And they don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. And then we just get on. No one even claps. A room full of people. I could not imagine.
Dude, I read the best story the other day. It was like from a few years ago. I guess Radiohead's roadies came out and were just like tuning their guitars and stuff. And the whole crowd thought it was Radiohead. Just because their
And they went
music
nuts.
is, yeah, everyone was going ape shit. But again, that shows you what Radiohead's music.
This is the opposite. It's like he's on stage. He has to do the Jeb Bush. Please clap.
Yeah. Please clap.
And then he tells a story about Jeff Ross at the Fries Club. And I thought it was going to go completely other way.
Why? Which way did you think it was going?
I thought because he talked about the bomb there. I went to the Fries Club with Jeff Ross and got on stage and just ate a dick because I was medicated. But then he was the hero because he talked about pissing on his girlfriend. And he was like, but 10 years, it could have been 1 minute, could have been 30 seconds. But it's just that exhilarating feeling he had. Who is the most famous person you've ever met? And I don't know, met is loosely.
Like been in their presence?
Or had a conversation with.
Oof. I don't know. Well, like I said, at school in New York, Matthew Modine and Gabriel Byrne came to give like a talk. So I was in the same room as them.
Shook a hand.
Yeah.
Said thank you.
Yeah.
Let's meet it. Yeah.
Common on the street in New York. I said, "What's up, Common?" He said, "What's up, dude?"
That's about the same.
Yeah.
Simon?
I've never met anybody famous.
Well, there still has to be the most famous person.
Yeah.
If it's me, then so be the case.
I saw who's that actor who looks like he's black and he wears like a mink coat. He was in Transformers.
This is the worst description of a famous person ever. He's black and wears a mink
I heard he
coat.
thinks he's black.
No, he
Wears
is.
a mink
He
coat.
is black.
Okay.
He wears a mink coat.
Yeah.
He was
what does
in
he wears a mink coat
Transformers
mean?
with Marky Mark. I'm just telling you how he dresses. Like,
But he's always in a
I
mink
saw
coat?
him in a fur. He wears fur a lot.
Man, I'm so lost.
Jamie Smooth?
Mike Epps? Tyrell,
Yeah,
okay.
Tyrell, met him.
I
Wow,
guess.
that's big time.
No,
And-
Tyrese.
Tyrese.
You met
him
Tyrese?
in an elevator.
Well, he's definitely the biggest one
And
anyone's named
I
so
thought
far.
he was somebody else. I thought he was a sports person.
That's
and I said
hilarious.
to him, "What are you doing here? Is your team in town?" And he said, "Yeah, me and my crew are here." And then I realized I had the wrong person. Then he really liked me and he took me out. We went partying.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's an awesome
It was all
story.
true until the end, until the party. I definitely met him in an elevator and thought he was, shit, who did I think he was? A football player.
I was backstage with Steve-O and his team.
He's
when they were in
very
Ottawa.
small though, Matt.
Tyrese?
Yeah, very,
Interesting.
very small. Huge fur coat.
Interesting.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and then Matthew Broderick. I sat across from him on the subway in New York. I was flabbergasted.
No interaction, though.
No, he was on his BlackBerry, and there was no one else on the train. It was me, my girlfriend, and then Matthew Broderick right across from us, just head down on his BlackBerry, and I was losing it. Just fucking, I was like, but yeah, I had no interaction, so I guess that doesn't count as a meeting. What about you, Kumar?
I think Mark McGrath
Of
from
Sugar Ray?
was bartending in Australia.
Interesting.
Should have talked to him for a while. He told me the joke why the Kleenex run across the table.
Why?
Had a little boogie in it.
That was the stupidest joke ever.
Well, that's Mark McGrath for
Very
you.
Mark McGrath.
Who is the bounty? No, the Mountie on that Canadian TV show?
Yeah, I know him, but I don't know his
Paul.
name.
Yeah. I sat beside him on a
Paul
flight.
That's very B-list.
Well, I agree.
My mother sat behind Jimmy Buffett's drummer's cousin.
I saw Uma Thurman in Balthazar in New York, and when I was in elementary school,
We saw her together.
we saw her together. I told all the kids that I met Michael J. Fox.
That doesn't count. I also partied with
But I
Robert
kind of
Williams,
convinced
but don't really
myself
remember it.
that I met Michael J. Fox, you know? Like when you tell a lie for so long.
Yeah. I have a photo of me and the guy that played Kenny Banya on Seinfeld. I met him in Australia. My mom was like, how the fuck did you pick him
Banya.
out of a crowd?
You're
And I
probably
have-
the only person who ever recognized him.
I have my
Ovaltine.
embarrassing Bill Burr story. And yeah, that's it. Not a lot of famous people. But they were just talking about how Joe idolized Chuck Norris. And Chuck Norris is the real deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He actually did all that karate stuff. But it's just funny how those fighting styles existed, but they had their limitations, and now that's how we got to the MMA.
They had their limitations, like really tight blue jeans. Yeah.
Tight blue jeans are just you could hit
Cowboy
their,
boots and tight blue jeans.
Well,
None of this.
Joe gives that analogy all the time, how he was a Taekwondo guy and then he got his ass kicked by somebody who did like, Muay Thai or something. And he was like, oh, shit.
You used to have
There
these
are
rules where you
huge
just do a
holes
kata
in my game.
as people are like, well, this isn't working,
Well,
sensei.
that's what karate is, man. It's like you're doing all these imaginary fucking simulations and then wax on, wax off. Next thing you know, crane kick.
Yeah. Where the best thing you can do is wrestle. Or, no, again, as we said last week, the best thing you can do is run. So Joe Rogan, everyone should have a podcast except for Obama and Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, because it can't be natural. Can't be good.
It probably can't be, but they can do it. I would never listen to it. Have you ever tried to listen to it?
I mean, I'm not a fan of either of them. So
Hillary
why would I give a
Clinton
shit?
has a podcast.
Oh, I bet that's a big hit.
Could you imagine listening to Simon?
Hillary Clinton?
No, Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen.
No, I wouldn't listen to either of those guys.
The weird thing for me is like Obama has nothing to lose at this point. He can't be president again, so I don't see the point. Like Joe's whole thing, like you're never gonna get. You might.
I don't think they can do that. I think like there must be rules that if you badmouth,
I don't mean that.
they
I don't
kill
mean
you and they take all your.
I don't mean
pension.
he's going to be out there talking about Area 51 drunk off whiskey. I just mean like he might be able to let loose and just be more himself than maybe we've ever gotten. That's a big maybe.
On
though.
paper, to a lot of people, it sounds interesting and they'd want to check it out.
Will Trump do that?
Podcast?
If they'll let him.
Only if you got the deal. Only if you got the bag
if
first.
he owns the podcast network. Imagine he bought Spotify. He was Joe's boss.
Might be insane.
Trump would not start something for free and see if it worked out. He's the type of guy who would have to secure the bag first. I just think it's funny. Joe thinks everyone should have a podcast until this one
Yeah.
because it get too corporate.
When he was talking about the corporate podcast, was he talking about Fighter and the Kid, do you think?
No.
No.
I'm sure he's talking about lots of podcasts.
I was just going to say, I think he was kind of talking about all of them.
It seemed very specific.
And he was saying, the reason why they can't have a podcast is because so many people are watching. Joe, you're the biggest watch one. You've proved that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't be canceled. Like you said.
Do you think people would stop watching Rogan or listening to Rogan if he like made it more produced? Or do you think that would make him even bigger?
I think enough changes have been done that he's got to stop here in his tracks, because he even says there's not a lot of people. I don't plan it. This is the success. He could mess with it too much. That's my opinion.
I mean, listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't see why he would want to go above and beyond anything at this point. Like, keep the skeleton crew, keep what you're doing, make the majority of your money. Don't answer to anyone.
Imagine how he's competing with the radio station.
He's winning.
So the one thing he didn't mention is the copious amounts of drugs he must have done. Because he said when that guy told him he sucked in San Francisco, he got a flight to LA to go to the Viper Room for Kate Moss's 21st birthday.
Yeah. And cocaine was done. Yeah.
They were not
Cocaine
just
had to be
eating
done. Yeah.
fucking icing on the
No,
cake.
that's it. Yeah.
But it was just sort of like, and I bartended on the other side and hung out there for 3 years. Like, just drugs were being done.
I mean, you got to ask too, like, well, I mean, I guess if you really like bartending, but like, I can't imagine his royalty checks being to the point where he was like,
But he just sort of alluded to, like, and then, just like, that was over. Like, I had to get the fuck out of there, obviously, because I was hanging at a superstar. Like, the Viper Room is a notorious River Phoenix.
died
OD'd
there, yeah.
It's Johnny Depp's club. Like, come on.
Hey guys, could I give you the list of actresses that he's dated?
oh my God, this is going to be disappointing.
This is crazy. Okay. Starts with Lara Flynn Boyle.
Yep.
Okay. Followed by Monica Potter.
Love the song.
I don't know who Monica Potter is.
She is American actress. Reportedly wrote the song Mrs. Potter's Lullaby for Monica Potter. Then he goes on to date Sticky Fingers Winona Ryder.
Sticky fingers.
I remember that. That broke my heart.
He follows that up with bombshell Jennifer Aniston. Then
this guy's a heavy hitter.
Then slips right in there to date Courtney Cox right after.
Wow, that's a power move.
Follows up Courtney Cox with, boom, Mary Louise Parker. Then says, no, Mary Louise Parker isn't enough and moves on to Christina Applegate, who he rented the house from. He follows up Christina Applegate with Samantha Mathis, who's another actress. And then after Samantha Mathis, he moves on to Trishelle Canatella. You know who that is?
No.
She's a Playboy model, and she was on MTV's reality show, The Real World.
Outside your fucking weight class.
Then he dates Whitney Casey, who is an American journalist and anchor woman. Then he goes on to date Emmy Rossum, who he's now broken up with.
This guy's a straight player.
Straight player, man. All of Hollywood. He was busy.
And fat.
A busy boy. With
not
those
fat.
with that
He's
hair.
not skinny.
Well, okay, but he's not. I mean,
Well,
No, he's just a dad bod. Like,
he
Yeah.
struggled with weight. People used to make fun of him all the time on the message boards.
does it say that there too?
They used to come up and call him fat and say he sucked.
Yeah.
That's what he told you.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you're dating all these heavy hitters, what the fuck do you care about a message board? I wouldn't give two shits.
And Emmy Rossum, like, the rest of them were a long time ago. She's like super hot.
Dude, if I'm high on
Those
cocaine,
Do you know
dating
who Emmy
Jennifer
Those
Aniston.
songs
Do you know who
resonated.
Emmy Rossum is?
No.
From Shameless.
Oh, good for him. Look at
Yeah.
this guy go.
Yeah. Well, so there you go, Adam.
he partied for a long time. They had a big talk about showbiz, chasing fame for the sake of fame, which I thought he was grounded. You know what I mean? Like realistic about it. It wasn't sort of, once you're famous, you'd rather just hang out with famous people than submitting yourself to all this praise and people saying you suck and just people warning you. It just makes sense.
To me, this episode, and again, Counting Crows fan, but this episode just came off like, I don't know, like he was telling you all his problems, but he was super famous and rich, and you just didn't buy it.
Yeah, it was sort of like a Demi Lovato,
Yeah, exactly.
but much, much better.
And I know that's not the case because I know that, but that's how it comes across.
Yeah, when you say, I just want to start talking with people like Jeremy Irons in New York City. Like, he's just,
Exactly.
you know what his value is, according to the internet? He
Jeremy
got paid
Irons?
$3,000. No,
this guy.
Adam Duritz. He made $3,000 for his first album, which I think is super cool.
I think he's
They
worth
took it all on the back end.
42
Yeah.
million.
Oh, I think he's worth 15.
According to the internet, he's worth $60 million.
60.
Bada boom, bing, bang.
This dude's doing great for
Now,
himself.
he talked about how he squandered a lot of money on making his own record company, trying to go independent.
Two of them.
And I think that's it, telling that he's back with a big league record company now. Like, there's obvious reason you need him if you try to fail. And then Joe asked him, this is what it is with Take the Cake. What artists are you trying to bro? It's like Gorilla Lizard from Boston, the small band out of Austin, Honey Honey.
Did he say that?
No, but it would have been hilarious. We were trying to get him off the ground for years. Spent money, just couldn't get any traction.
Joe suggests to every musician who comes on that they should do that, though. Somebody is going to bite one day.
He also said, if you wake up on Mars, it might take you a minute to get used to the gravity. There's going to be a lot more going on than just getting rid of, to be literal Joe for a second. But I think the gravity is the least of your concerns if you wake up on Mars.
You know that that's the saying, right?
I know, but I just think it's stupid.
Okay.
Because
Fair enough.
there's a lot going on. I think he might have
Yeah,
schooled.
you got to worry about the Martians first.
Got to worry about the lack of oxygen, how to get home. There's a lot going on besides the gravity. I feel like he schooled Joe on steroids.
How so?
Oh,
Well, he was like, I got an infection because the steroids just
Joe wanted
encourage
to fight
something
him
to
on
grow or whatever, like reproduce, like it boosts something. It doesn't care what it's boosting, so it boosted the infection. And Joe's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? He's like, no, this is it. And he looked at him like, well, will you look at that? Might have to cut back on those.
Kamar's already 3 regiments deep.
It was like that moment when Chris D'Elia finds out that the message
That's exactly
Snapchat stay, yeah.
What do you mean? How did they give a picture?
Yeah. Interesting.
I thought it was Joe's moment.
That is one of the greatest moments ever.
Oh, it's
That
so
is
good.
so caught. Yeah, poor Chris. I thought it was interesting. You talk about Napster, about how the record companies were just fucking so stupid that they didn't even try to pivot.
No, they could have got in front of it, no problem.
They could have gone digital. They could have done this. They could have cut
Remember
the prices.
when they were trying to sue that one kid for like...
Yeah,
I think
Sean,
we talked
whatever, the
about
kid that
this.
started Napster.
No,
yeah.
no.
Oh.
They were trying to sue one. They were trying to make an example of like one child who downloaded all this music, and they were going to sue him or her. I can't remember, for like millions of dollars to show everybody they weren't messing around. Like, you know, when they put that message on the start of the videotapes.
Yeah, the FBI
Yeah.
fucking warning.
How many times has the FBI stormed your house looking for videotapes?
The best is
I
when
mean,
the best is when you're stealing
child
the UFC and the thing comes up.
That was bad. Bad joke.
What?
It was a child porn
Oh
joke.
God.
I tried because he was talking about it. He said he went to some friend's house or whatever, and they went to play, and it was like, because I can't remember, but the first time you're alone is at first. You know what I mean? The first time you're just like, I can just walk around this corner and like
I could light a fire.
get in or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but
Can I digress for 1 second, Kamar? Because I just
You
remembered
must.
something that reminded me of the conversation we were having before. So Sam Tripoli, you know him?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Kamar, are you with me?
yeah.
Yeah, you know him? Sam Tripoli. He
heard him
says
just this
that
week.
he doesn't like comedy about pedophilia, about child pedophilia.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the punching down that I won't do.
It's like a tolerance.
So and he doesn't like when other comedians.
Oh, you're going back that far. Wow.
Yeah, so what's your opinion on that then?
I don't think I love kid fucking jokes either. Like it's
But that's punching down, right?
no.
It's
I,
not?
I think it's normalizing something that's fucking reprehensible and horrible.
But isn't that the idea of comedy?
Yeah, and if it's funny, it's like everyone laughed at the pedophile and the kid going in the forest. And said,
Yeah, it's still funny.
you're scared. Oh, I got to come here alone.
I know it's still funny, but you don't want to laugh in public.
I know. I wonder though. Did you hear that before you had kids? I don't know if it would bother. I think this may have come around since he has kids because that's changing.
I think
for sure.
it's like the well-craftedness of the joke that makes it so good.
It's a perfect play of words, but no children were hurt in the
Making of this joke. Exactly. Maybe you just got to start it like that.
The guy that wrote the joke raped and killed 50 kids.
Well, you see, that's a problem.
There you go.
And that's how he wrote such a
That's
good
how he
joke,
worded
'cause
it
it's
perfectly.
all-
Yeah.
you
It came to him
always-
coming out of the forest. Yeah. He's like, oh my God. I got
Got
it.
it.
Yes. This was all perfect.
Dude, that's how fucking miracles happen, man.
But I mean, this guy obviously.
You know how? I'm sorry, come on.
No, go on.
But right there, Simon, we just made a joke.
If I may.
We just made a joke about, and we all laughed.
Yeah. But you know how they say that like divination comes to you as like a miracle, like Einstein in a dream.
Okay.
Weren't they just talking about this the other day? That wasn't on Joe Rogan?
Might have been younger.
Many people who have come up with like very important
Say it
moments
came to them in a
time
dream.
say it came to them in either some sort of lucid dream, waking dream, or sleeping dream. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, your mind is still technically on when you're asleep, right? So it's.
But you don't.
But here's my
You don't
question.
know how to generate those thoughts.
Okay, but here's my question: is like if I'm awake and that thought comes out of nowhere, isn't it coming from the same place as if I'm asleep?
Maybe though, Matt, that when you dream, you're actually going somewhere else and you're getting that information from somewhere else and bringing it back to you. And that's why they say that it can happen during like a waking dream as well. Now, you've probably never experienced a waking dream. I mean, you have been in a coma, but it's different.
Well, it wasn't long enough.
It
so.
wasn't long enough. But it was kind of like a waking dream. Too bad you don't remember anything from it.
Yeah, I might have fucking thought of Google.
You might have thought of Google, exactly.
It's a shame.
Anyways, sorry, I was going somewhere there. Go on, Kamar.
Yeah. As far as Sam Tripoli, I mean, I don't think he would put someone's joke on the internet if they told a kid fucking joke or whatever and said, "Look at this," like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't like him. That's all I say to that.
Here's what I say too is like, it's weird to say that because laughter is a knee-jerk reaction. I don't think you have control over it. And if Sam Tripoli heard a really good pedophilia joke, I don't know that he has the control to like.
No, I don't think so.
He might laugh and then after the fact go, oh, I don't really like
Condemn
the like
himself.
Yeah, it just seems, I don't know. A perfect joke is just that. It's gonna make you laugh. I told you an anti-Semitic joke that made you nearly shit your pants laughing.
So it appears that Adam Duritz is who he is. You know what I mean? Like in university, didn't want to get a job, want to write songs, grew dreads. Both his parents are doctors. They over-medicated him for 10 years trying to fix him back. They worked, put a bunch of songs together, and got big.
What's the disease he said he had?
The Joe belittled.
Yeah, that Joe belittled.
Some sort of anxiety and agoraphobia.
Oh,
or
dissociative disorder.
Yeah.
Where you look at your life like it's not happening to you, which is very interesting. When I was in high school, I think they tried to diagnose me with ADD.
Yeah.
And one of the drugs they tried to put me on, and this has only ever happened one other time in my life when I took nitrous oxide.
The best.
But it felt like I was walking down the hallway of the school, but floating like close to the ceiling, looking at myself walking down the hallway.
Weird.
Yeah.
Because of the drug.
Yeah, it was some negative.
He was saying he was feeling that way without the drug, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, well, this drug made me feel like that. Nitrous also made me feel like that. And that's why I started laughing, because I was floating away from my body, and like that was hilarious to me.
It's all worked out, and I think his biggest Achilles heel is that he's too old. Like there should be easier ways for them to get this message out. You know, that he was talking about, why are you going back with another record label? Why are you on the Joe Rogan right now? It's all like, it's just sort of asked backwards. I think if you have a listening bunch of Simons, but you weren't not going to check this out at all, right, Simon?
I would have never have listened to this, even being the giant fucking Counting Crows fan that I am.
Yeah, exactly. It's one kick of the can. Good luck with his music festival and all that. But
it's
what are you gonna do?
Long December.
Yeah. Don't you remember the year that Simon traveled around following Counting Crows?
That was
to
when
all
I
their...
had dreads. That's why I grew dreads.
Exactly.
It was because of Adam Duritz.
No teeth to eat my beef. It was in 1993. And they were in the same breath as Nirvana and all that, like he said.
No, they were not.
No.
He said.
Even me as a giant fan.
I don't agree. It was just the exact same time they're all blowing up.
Sure.
I don't like Mr. Jones, though. Just that should
Even
tell
then,
you something about.
What year did Mr. Jones come out? That was
1993. It was a white guy with dreads.
Was
that
it
was the problem.
93? Jesus.
It was a white guy with dreads. That was a problem. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Let it go. Met this guy. He's not so bad. He's a white guy with dreads. Certain coke off of a hot girl's titties for 10 years straight. Jennifer Aniston. Nice pull. What are you going to do?
Listen, he must have the hugest hog.
I just think they love the songs. I really think they love the songs.
It's true, dude.
I know a lot of people like you, Simon, who love that.
It's been a long December. I think he's talking about a schlong.
Round here.
It's named December. This is my dick, December.
Another night in Hollywood.
I named it that because it's the longest month.
Happy New Year.
I like this podcast a lot more than I thought.
Do you believe in Santa?
You what, Kamar? You like this more?
I like
than
this
you
a
thought?
lot
That came
more.
full circle.
That's a good callback.
I actually didn't like this one, but whatever.
No, I
To
thought
each
this
their
was
own.
a terrible episode. I hated it. And I love Counting Crows. It's weird. Weird juxtaposition.
Are we going to rate it? Are we done?
Absolutely.
Let's start with you, Kamar. You want to rate it?
Give it a 3.2.
3.2. Simon, you want to go?
That's ridiculous. I give this a 1.7.
Okay, I'm going to give it just a 2. And I'm going to change my week rating to a 3. I think 3 is more appropriate.
I just really think of all the musicians we've had on. Like, yeah, he played something completely different score. If he buzzed out a guitar or turned around at a keyboard there, it's game over.
Oh, for sure.
You wanted him to sing?
No, I'm
Oh, you
saying
did, Simon.
It scored higher because we just had a talk.
Yeah. Although not a lot of the only musicians that fucking play are Honey Honey. So
Yeah.
and that's out of desperation.
Everlast
Oh
versus
yeah,
a bit much.
terrible.
Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah. All right, well, that was a show. Thank you guys. You made it this far. Incredible. We made it this far. Also incredible. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow us on any of the socials, we have an Instagram and a Twitter. They're both at JREE Podcast. You can follow Kamar on Instagram.
At Kamar Babar.
We have a YouTube. It's youtube.com/JREE Podcast. If you want to watch the show, you can do so there. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like, all that fun stuff. We have a Reddit, a subreddit. It's r/JREE Podcast. If you want to join in the conversation, you can do so there. And of course, the Patreon, patreon.com/JREE Podcast. You can join for as little as $5 a month. For that $5, you get the post show and the backlog of old episodes of This Won't Age Well, where we go back and we used to listen to old episodes of Joe and do what we do here.
53 hours.
There you go, 53 hours. Incredible. So check that out, patreon.com/JREE Podcast. Again, if you want some extras, that's where you can do it. Support the show. It will help us out a great deal in our quest to, I don't know, get rich, I guess. What else? Don't forget to check out Pot Stickers. Thank you to them for sponsoring the show. Also, it's been a while, but I should mention it. If you go to onit.com/JREE, or maybe it's onit.com/JREE Podcast. I can't remember. Either way, they have a bunch of free stuff you can get. You can try out Shroom Tech Sport. You can try out, what is it, New Mood? I can't remember. There's a bunch of stuff, though, you can go and try out. I think it's only good if you're in the States, though. So be sure to check them out as well.
Get that discount. Get that Alpha Brain.
There you go. Did I miss anything? Anything in closing, gentlemen?
You're the host of the most.
Simon, you have nothing to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. As usual, we hope you have a great weekend, and
The right thing to do here would be to say what's up, like that. Because I love you, I'm not going to do that.
that's good.
Keep your eyes open.